Well, ladies and gentlemen, we all heard last night that you had Chris Olave getting arrested for speeding. The TMZ video came out. Honestly, I hate talking about this. I mean, really, we're going down a TMZ road. Nonetheless, we get to see the body cam footage. She's saying, well, man, I play for the Saints. The cop goes, and everybody's going nuts about it on Twitter. Everybody's just clowning on Chris Olave. And Chris Olave now goes to Twitter, tweets out, a damn crazy world. They couldn't wait to try to tear me down and bash me. And obviously, you should not speed. You should not go 70 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. I am the grandma on the road that is always driving too slow, and people that are in the car make fun of me. Like, I would never in a million years go out there and do something like that. But with that being said, from a fantasy football perspective, does this matter? Probably not, right? Like, if you're going to go ahead and if you're going to make a moral statement saying, oh my gosh, Chris Olave is a clown, let's go ahead and let's sell Chris Olave. Nobody wants this guy. Yada, yada, yada. I know everybody's clowning on Chris Olave right now. I don't necessarily want to go down that road or not. Doesn't really matter one way or another. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is who's going to score fantasy points. And y'all know everybody last night was so excited to see Jordan Addison break out. Everybody was so excited to get the Jordan Addison fantasy points in their lineup. Well, back in July, right before the season, Jordan Addison got pulled over for going to 140 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. So, what are we? I don't want to waste our time here too much talking about Olave. While 100%, you should not speed. Like I said, I would never do it. I'm the grandma on the road. At the same time, if it opens up a buy low moment for us with Chris Olave in fantasy, I honestly may take advantage. Whether the NFL should take action or not, we've kind of seen what they've done before. And what did they do with Jordan Addison, who went 140 in a 55 mile per hour zone? They did nothing. They did nothing with Addison. So I'm going to operate under the assumption that they do nothing with Olave. Now, of course, I could 100% be wrong, but that's my stance on it. Hope that shines some insight of maybe what you should be expecting from a fantasy football perspective. Obviously, maybe the Saints feel a little bit differently, but ultimately it just depends on what the NFL feels. But let me pull up these questions. And as I do this, let me remind you, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you wanted to go out there and check out any of those pick'ems on Underdog, you got Chris Olave right there at 62.5 receiving yards. You can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And for NBA tip-off, a LeBron James special pick'em, more than less than half a total point. And on top of that, if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, they have the regular Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. But because so many of y'all used promo code FLOCK on Underdog last week, they are actually hooking y'all up with an Amon-Ra St. Brown Flock exclusive special pick'em as well. So please make sure you take advantage of that while you can, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go ahead and let's answer our first question coming out from Ethan. Says, should I trade DK Flowers for Devonta Smith and Joshua Palmer? DK Smith, kind of up to you at this point. Flowers versus Palmer, I probably want Flowers. So I think it's a very fair trade, and I hate to give you this answer. It is honestly up to you, though. I do think it's up to you, my friend. Now, Bob the Builder coming out says, I'm 2-5, new to this, don't know how to trade. Team is Mahomes, Jacobs, Walker, Gibbs, Charbonnet, Watson, Jefferson, Flowers, Wilson, Osborne, Jason, Laporta. I actually think you have a pretty good team. Obviously, very unfortunate to have the Justin Jefferson injury. And specifically on a team in which you are 2-5, you're probably actually looking to go out there and sell Justin Jefferson. And I think if we're going to be trying to come up with a trade that makes sense, if you wanted to go out there and sell Jefferson and try to get to A.J. Brown, try to get to Amon-Ra St. Brown, that would make a lot of sense so we can compete right now. Worst case scenario, we'd be looking at the Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb range if we can't get to like Cooper Kupp or one of the Browns. Now, Dr. Ryan Cecil says, sit 1 PPR, Smith, London, Ridley, Addison, and Myers. So Smith has been, actually no, Ridley's been the worst guy here, but Smith and Ridley have been by far and away the worst players out of this group. I don't necessarily think we can be benching Smith though, because he does have a great matchup going up against Washington. So we probably are going to end up benching Calvin Ridley here, my friend. But always appreciate seeing ya. Joey says 14-team league, PPR single flex, 5-2. We have Purdy, Bijan, Etienne, Lamb, Olave, Kittle, Ridley, Roshan, Spears, JSN, Elijah Moore, and Kyler. Who should we drop for Kincaid or Achane? You could pick up Achane off waivers? I would drop Roshan for him in a heartbeat. And then for Kincaid, we are going to go ahead and we probably are just going to end up dropping Elijah Moore. But it's very hard to, like, how the hell are those guys sitting out there on the waiver wire in a 14-team league, my friend? And real quick, if I look like I'm crying, I'm not that upset about the Chris Olave thing. My contact is just absolutely killing me right now. I need to take this out. Now, Michael says 5-2 double flex. We have Burrow, Baker, Daniel Jones, Saquon, Henderson, Pierce, Kyron, Chuba, AJ Brown, Flowers, Kirk, London, Nico, Downs, Kittle. What moves should we look to make? In terms of trades, I don't necessarily think much. Incredibly impressive that we are 5-2 despite the Saquon Barkley injury. I think that this team will be much better going forward. The only thing that I'd say is now that we have Burrow through his bye, I think we want to go ahead and we want to drop either Baker Mayfield or Daniel Jones. I would probably drop Baker, just given the Daniel Jones rushing upside. But yeah, move on from Baker and go get one of those guys off the waiver wire that we're excited about. Kill a Cow Style says trade Laporta and Rashad White or Stevenson for Jonathan Taylor and Mostert. Give me JT over Laporta, White versus Mostert. Give me Mostert probably. So yeah, I would make that move, especially if we have Dallas Goedert at tight end, my friend. Aaron says trade Herbert, Madison, Amari for Jonathan Taylor and Joe Burrow. So Herbert to Burrow, honestly, both players already through their bye. Now that we have hopefully Burrow close to 100% and T. Higgins close to 100%, I think that they are in a similar range. Madison and Amari versus Jonathan Taylor. Give me Jonathan Taylor. So I'd probably go JT and Burrow, but I expect Burrow to be better coming out of the bye. Now, Ethan says, should we drop London for Spears, Rice, Downs, or JSN? I think that JSN actually has the highest ceiling out of these guys long-term, so I'd go for JSN. Mason says traded Mostert, Hunt, Flowers, Debo for Taylor and Lamb. What are your thoughts? Mostert to Taylor, upgrade. Debo to Lamb, upgrade. We paid Kareem Hunt and Zay Flowers, get it done. I do like it, and this coming from someone who has a lot of Kareem Hunt in best ball. I will win a considerable amount of money if Hunt goes out there and crushes it. But to be fair, Kareem Hunt has been laughably inefficient, and at the same time, not really being involved as a receiver. And yeah, Pierre Strong still with this team. Ray says 12-team PPR trade Allen Zay for Burrow Lamb. We have Chase. 6-point passing touchdown format. Maybe we consider it. 4-point passing touchdown league where Josh Allen has a considerable amount of rushing upside. I think it's going to be tougher. If you want to make the one concentrated bet here on the Cincinnati Bengals offense, you can go for it. It is a very tough move, though. Because, I mean, if I'm looking at this, I really do like what we are going to have from Allen. And typically, I'm going to go with the elite level quarterback when we get the chance. Now, Christian says 5-2 PPR. Rank these waiver wire options. Palmer, Edwards, Henderson, Dell, Hunt, Amari, Bourne, Downs, Herbert, JSN, Singletary, Boyd. We have 2 bench spots. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. And I'm sorry, I may have to take my contact out. This is killing me. I don't know how it could possibly hurt this bad. Yeah, I'm just throwing this on the ground. Oh my God. Now I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to be closing one eye through the rest of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. But nonetheless, if we are looking at this, I think you have to go Jackson Smith and Jigba as your top guy. After that, I think we're probably going to be looking at Gus Edwards or Joshua Palmer, depending on what you need. The issue is, I mean, if you're going to have to take Khalil Herbert off of waivers and then put him on your bench and not be able to move him to IR, then it's going to be much harder to roster him in a shallow format like this. So then we're going to go JSN number 1. Then afterwards, you're going to be looking at Downs, Palmer. If you needed a running back, you're going to go Gus Edwards. Then Darrell Henderson. I mean, with Henderson, he was the guy in Los Angeles this past week. Just very difficult to project that to be a for sure thing going forward. Chris says 6-1 PPR. We have Stroud, Gibbs, Lamb, Ayuk, Pittman, Andrews, Fields, Pickens, Elijah, Roshan, Chuba, Agent, Hyatt. Good offered Smith for Pittman. I like Devonta, but Pittman's been balling for me. Full transparency, I have a lot more Michael Pittman in drafts this year than I do Devonta Smith, so I am very biased when I say this. But I think if you're going to look at the passing volume that we've had in Indianapolis, if you're going to look at the target volume that we have with Michael Pittman as well, I think that we're going to have to go ahead. I honestly think that we're going to just have to take Michael Pittman here. I do still stand by. I think Smith could be an intriguing buy low candidate given his offense. But I think it's going to be tough to go out there and make that play right now. It's going to be tough to have that call right this second. Now, Doug Van Dan says 4-3, 12-team PBR single flex. Traded Amon-Ra and Roshan for Jamar Chase. We have Lawrence, Hill, Chase, Cook, Pollard, Goddard, Pierce, Geno, Jameson, Pitts, Kyler. Thoughts on any moves? I'd say I think it's a great move. Roshan Johnson doesn't really have a ton of value. It's going to be a committee almost regardless. Yeah, so getting that upgraded Chase, especially as Chase is already through his bye week, I think that makes a ton of sense. And then outside of that, we have Hill, Chase. I mean, we have Pollard out running back. We have a phenomenal team. The only thing I'd say is, I mean, eventually, obviously, we're looking to pivot off a quarterback if we're going to have Geno, Lawrence, and Kyler Murray. So I'd just say eventually at some point, we need to look to go through and see if we can send like Kyler and a running back and go get that RB upgrade. TJ says traded Ramondre for James Conner straight up. I would probably have Ramondre Stevenson unless you're telling me, Mason, there's no way in hell I start Ramondre Stevenson. If it's like a super shallow format where you don't need him anytime soon, then maybe I could see making this deal. Now, Yakub says, I traded Etienne and Olave for Pacheco and Thielen. It's a 10-team, 5-2 roster. We have Hall, Pacheco, Mostert, Kupp, Lamb, Ridley, Thielen. Who won? Olave to Thielen. I think everybody's going to say Thielen. I think it's close. Etienne to Pacheco. I think it's Etienne and not close at all. So honestly, I think you lost the deal. I think with Olave, as we went through previously, I don't think that he's going to miss a ton of time. I don't think this is the end of the world by any means. Everybody's favorite wide receiver that broke out last week, right before the season, was going 140 and a 55 and got pulled over. So I don't know. I'm not. I don't think it's going to be some big deal where Chris Olave misses a considerable amount of time, my friend. So I probably would have kept the best player in Travis Etienne here. Green Blogger says Mason's never wrong about fantasy football, especially recently. I don't think so, my man. I mean, especially any start-sit questions you'd have asked me last week, I would have got it for you. I would have got it. Now, Remy says, hey, Mason, 7-0, 12-team, happy BR league. Dak, Diggs, Wilson, Stevenson, Brees, Kelsey, Smith. And then on the bench, we have Rice, Ford, Watson, Jeff Wilson. Herbert owner won't trade me for the bench pieces. Suggestions for a quarterback upgrade. So if I'm going to go for a quarterback, there are either one of two options. I'm either going to be trading for an elite level guy. I'm going to be getting a top 4 name in either Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, or Hurts. Or I'm going to stream the position. The last thing, I mean, we were seeing people earlier in the season go out there and trade for like Jordan Love. And that's like the last thing I ever want to do, right? Is go out there and trade for a quarterback that is just going to ultimately be a streamer for us at the end of the day. So if we were to make a trade, Lamar is going to be a difficult piece to come by. But maybe given the struggles that we've had as of late with the Buffalo Bills, maybe we could get Josh Allen at a decent price. Now, the question is, of course, what can we sell for Josh Allen? I mean, we would include Dak and Watson easily, of course. These guys are expendable for going to get in the elite level QB. Outside of that, I don't necessarily know if we're going to get anything for Ramondre. I don't want to sell Brees. If you could sell like Dak and Garrett Wilson, I think that would be an absolute no-brainer. Or Deshaun Watson, Garrett Wilson. In reality, you may be better off picking up another quarterback off waivers and then playing the matchups between two quarterbacks on a week-to-week perspective. John says traded Jacobs and Ramondre for Pollard. What are your thoughts? We're 1-6. I think it is a fair deal. I would rather have Pollard over Jacobs, and I do not have much Pollard this year. But with that being said, I mean, it really does depend on your running back depth with that team. Lucas says Hill for Allen in the Diggs stack. We have currently the Tua and Hill stack. I think I'm just going to hold on to the Tua Hill stack. Like if we have Tua, I put him in the classic quarterback where I honestly don't think you need to make a trade. Margo says got offered Mostert and Ayuk for Kamara and Hunt. What are your thoughts? So give me Kamara over Mostert in a full BBR rest of season. Give me Ayuk over Kareem Hunt. I think if it is a full PPR league, I'm probably going to go Kamara. If it's a non-PPR format, probably go Mostert. Now, Roberto says 5-2 non-PPR league where we have Purdy, Walker, Kamara, Lamb, Ayuk, Pittman, Andrews. The flex is Aaron Jones. And then on the bench, we have Hawkinson, Prescott. Any wide receiver suggestions? Should we trade Hawkinson, Lamb, and Aaron Jones for Mostert, Flowers, and Stroud? I would throw Stroud in that tier of quarterbacks where I don't necessarily think we're accomplishing a lot when we are trading for him. Obviously, he's been great. I think you'd be really happy if you're a Houston Texans fan, but I still kind of throw him as that low-end quarterback one. This is going to be matchup dependent, so I don't really think you solve your quarterback situation that way. Give me Mostert over Aaron Jones, but then selling Lamb for Flowers is a big downgrade. Selling Hawkinson for Stroud is a big downgrade. So I agree with the sentiment. I think it makes a lot of sense for us to go through and sell Hawkinson there when we have Mark Andrews. But I would rather try to sell TJ Hawkinson and Brock Purdy together and go get a top 4 quarterback. Go get Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, or Lamar. And honestly, maybe we go through it instead of selling Hawkinson. Maybe we sell Andrews if that's the deal that it needs to take to get it done. I'll say also in a non-PBR format, Kamara's an intriguing sell, to be honest. Now, Keji says, PBR, we have Eckler, Henry. Trade Montgomery for Laporta. Montgomery's probably going to be back 2 weeks. I would assume right after the bye. I think it is a fair deal. I would rather go for Andrews or Hawkinson, as we've been saying over the past month. I would do it for Andrews or Hawkinson. Laporta's a little tougher. Dylan says trade Kupp, JT for Bijan, Diggs. Give me Diggs over Kupp. Give me Bijan over JT. Yes, I'll do it. And I have a lot more Taylor this year than I do Bijan. We have Josh Allen. Especially if you have Allen, let's go get the Diggs stack. Derek says, great content, Mason. Thank you. 2-5 full BBR. Receivers are Waddle, Puka, Smith, Myers, Pittman. Badly need an RB2. Is Jacobs or Pacheco worth Puka? And is Mixon worth Pittman? Mixon is worth Pittman for sure. I don't necessarily know if we would sell Puka for Jacobs or Pacheco, though. I think I'd sell Pittman for Mixon before I'd sell Puka for one of those guys. Mr. Waking Up coming out saying, Lamb for by Jonathan Taylor and George Pickens. Running backs are Etienne, Hall, Matt, Roshan. I honestly think you're going to go JT and Pickens, especially if JT continues to go out there and expand his role. Now, Jay says 12-team PBR trade Henry for Adams. I think I want it. Full PBR format, if you're fine at running back, I'm completely fine with this. Obviously, all eyes are on Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans over the next week to see if we get a big-time trade. Now, Brian says 10-team PBR 3-4. We have Allen, Kyler, Jefferson, Keenan, Waddle, Addison, Osborne, Judy, Watson, Kittle, Ingram. And then at running back, we have Etienne, Hunt, Spears, Deonta, Warren. Any moves, look for an RB. I would say long-term, yes, this is a team that needs to look for a running back. In the short term, however, we're just fine when we have, Deonta Foreman as a startable piece. Whenever we have Kareem Hunt as that startable piece as well. So I would say that's not necessarily something we need to be doing right this second. Honestly, I think that this team may be better off just going through and starting Hunt for the time being. and instead waiting until we get Jefferson and Kyler in. And then once we have Jefferson and Kyler in a few weeks, then we have significantly more depth and expendable assets. And maybe at that point, we can look to sell, say, like, I don't know, Kyler Murray, and go get a running back that we're excited about, right? Whenever we have Josh Allen here. But for the time being, whenever you're sitting with like these guys like Jefferson, Kyler, that are just going to naturally increase their value as the season goes on, and we have someone like Kareem Hunt that can be a plug. I mean, it just can be someone that we can get by with for right now. I would be looking to hold on. Now, Keegan says 3 and 4, 10 TPBR double flex. Just traded Kelsey, Smith, White for Kupp, Swift, Ingram. Then flip Swift and Watson for Bijan. Oh, love that second deal. But going from Kelsey to Kupp will be a downgrade. Going from Smith to Swift is an upgrade. White to Ingram is up to your team. So I think the first deal, honestly, kind of fair and up to you. However, knowing that we were able to parlay it into Bijan Robinson, I really do like it. Okay. Now, Pete Eyes says, I'm working on a trade, Waddle and Jonathan Taylor for Kupp and Mixon. The other guy's Puka and is upset about Kupp's performance last game. Well, I mean, it would be a no-brainer trade if we can go out there and if we can get that price point for Kupp, right? I would love to make this deal if we can. Brandon says, Pacheco, Pittman for Bijan and Smith, full PBR 5 and 2. Give me Pittman over Smith, but it's close. Give me Bijan over Pacheco, and it's not. So I'm going to go with Bijan and Smith here. Julian says 5 and 2 traded Watson, Henderson, Madison for Henry and Judy. Judy, no value. Henderson, no real value. I like the move for Henry. We have Hurts, Pacheco, Henry, Kyron, Robinson, Spears, Charbonnet, Tyreek, Olave, Deontay, Judy, Jameson, Wandale. Any other moves? Very well-balanced teams. Very hard to know what we should be expecting for Derrick Henry, right? Because obviously you're just kind of hoping that he's going to get dealt here. I mean, they're saying they're going to be starting Will Levis and Malik Willis both playing in this game this week. So I don't necessarily know what to expect with Henry. Hopefully he just ends up getting dealt. I think this is a team that's set up nicely for the long term. If we did have an opportunity to go out there and we don't have a wide receiver outside of Tyreek that we could get to the Jefferson range. So honestly, I think we're chilling on our hands. I think it's a very well-balanced team that I really do like, my friend. Isaac says, why did Henderson go back down to the practice squad? All I got to say is you can't trust any Rams running backs. That's all I know. I'll go through and I'll try to pull more stuff up about this. Give me 1 second. And as I do this, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Barely 5% of y'all have hit the like button on this live stream. Maybe it's because I've not begged for likes enough, but you know we will do it if we need to. We have live streamed for almost 180 days in a row, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you wanted to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you are going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, for NBA tip-off, a LeBron James special pick'em, more than less than half a total point, plus the usual Underdog special pick'em that they have for new people. Josh Allen, more than less than half a total yard. And since so many of y'all used promo code FLOCK on Underdog last week, they're also hooking us up with an Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick'em, more than less than half total yard as well. That is a Flock exclusive. Now, here's what we got. For those wondering, Darrell Henderson was signed to the practice squad and then elevated to the active roster for week 7. He automatically reverts back after the game. He'll be called up again this week. They can do that 3 times before he needs to be signed to the 53. So not too much that you need to be concerned about with Darrell Henderson going back to the practice squad. I think it's very difficult to trust on any Rams running backs here. If I had to put my eggs in a basket, I would still be putting them in the Henderson basket. Kevin, crap, we just lost it. Dang it. Kevin says, I traded Stevenson, Gibbs, Rashee Rice for Bijan and Tank. Did I win? Rashee Rice to Tank Dell, slight downgrade. Gibbs, Stevenson to Bijan, massive upgrade. Or let's go Rice to Godwin. Give me Godwin. And then Stevenson to Bijan. I'm sorry, Stevenson and Gibbs to Bijan. Give me Bijan Robinson. I think you definitely won that, my friend. Okay. Kevin coming out saying 5-2, second place, 10-team PBR. We have Hurts, Chase, Smith, Myers, Palmer, Godwin, Jacobs, White, Kyron, Freeman, Jeff Wilson Jr., Hawkinson, and Njoku. What moves do you think I need to make? I feel like we need upgrades. Jacobs is iffy. Yeah, Jacobs definitely going to be someone that I'm a little more concerned about going forward. I mean, previously we were just saying, oh, the target volume's there, so there's nothing to stress about. He is someone that we can play every single week. But I completely understand where you're coming from at this point. I mean, running back's going to be a tough spot, especially with the Kyron Williams injury. So in reality, I would like to upgrade running back if we can. I just don't necessarily know how. If you wanted to see if we could send, say, like Myers and Jacobs and go get to Tony Pollard and go get to Bijan Robinson and go get to Austin Eckler and go get one of those round one running backs, I don't want to fault you at all for doing that because we do have a considerable amount of depth. Torrance saying, hey, Mason, need help. Traded Swift, Waddle, and Pickens for Tyreek. Trade vetoed because my team would be... Okay, let me say something real quick. A trade should never be vetoed because your team afterwards would be too good. The only reason a trade should ever be vetoed, and this never really happens, I'd say 1 out of 10,000 fantasy football trades should be vetoed, is if it's clear collusion. If it's someone sending Tyreek Hill and in return getting back Tank Dell, then of course you veto that. But Swift, Waddle, Pickens for Tyreek, no reason to veto a trade like this. I would rather have Tyreek, but still not vetoable. But we would have Mahomes, Eckler, Hall, Diggs, Allen, Hill, Goddard in an 8-team league. Curious what grounds for veto in other leagues are out there. Okay, so yeah, we kind of already went over it, my friend. I think that a trade like this should never be vetoed, especially in an 8-team league. It's the Tyreek Hill side no matter what. But I will say the last thing, like if your league mates say we're vetoing this because your team would be too good, then they're just operating in bad faith. And honestly, that sounds like a league I probably don't want to be in. Like the only way you can veto a trade is if it is clear collusion. I'm Gucci Upolo coming out saying 10 TBBR. Who should I go off with the waiver wire? Taysom Hill or Logan Thomas? I'm going to go Logan Thomas full PPR. You could make an argument for Taysom in a non-PPR. Also, start 2, Addison Pittman, JT Pacheco. Appreciate you as always. Appreciate you, my friend. Probably need to go Pacheco given the matchup that he has going up against Denver. The other spot will be tough. I want to tell you Jonathan Taylor, but obviously Addison has just been so damn good. I probably go JT and Pacheco, but if you wanted to make a swap, you would go Pacheco and then one of the receivers. Flagship Fantasy says Puka, Stafford, Addison for DK and Lamar. Okay, give me Addison over DK. Give me Puka and Stafford over Lamar. We have Lamb, St. Brown, Olave, JSN, Rice. So yeah, it's a league where wide receiver depth's not going to matter too much. So I do like going out there and paying up for the elite level QB. I don't necessarily know if we can be selling Puka and Addison to get that though. At least in my mind, I just view DK Metcalf as that low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 as he's been over the past 3 years. Now Torrance says, other manager resent an offer for my Swift, Waddle, Goddard for Tyreek instead, but haven't accepted. I thought this was the initial one, no? Swift, Waddle, Pickens, or Goddard. Oh, yeah, we would go and get Tyreek if we can. Just if your first one was vetoed. I don't know how that one's not going to get vetoed. Now, Paul says got offered CMC London for Puka Mostert. It's CMC by mile. We have Puka. Our other running backs are Walker, Montgomery, Brees, Connor, Ford. Yeah, so we're great at running back. If anything, we need some help at wide receiver. But ultimately, CMC is just in a completely different tier of any other player in fantasy at the moment. It's almost impossible for you to quote-unquote go out there and overpay for CMC. And I think it's a very reasonable price point to get him. Prime Iverson says Nico Collins or James Conner rest of season. Thanks. Appreciate you, my friend. I think it is so dependent on your team that it's almost impossible to answer. If I had to say one generically, I'd probably go Nico Collins. Ethan says Barkley and White for Pollard and then get Downs off of waivers. Other running backs are Hall, Cook, Gibbs, H.N. Moss, and then any other running back deals to get a wide receiver or tight end depth. I don't necessarily think that we need to be worrying about depth here. If you were worried about wide receiver or tight end depth, we could go out there and sell Barkley and White for Tony Pollard and then backfill with the wide receiver or a tight end that you like off waivers. So I think that's probably something that we would look to go ahead and do. And this coming from someone who drafted a lot of Saquon Barkley this year, no Tony Pollard. And I wish I could take that back. Now, B-Stub says, love your content, 5-2, 12-team PPR, single flex. We have Lamar, Hill, Chase, Etienne, White, Olave, Spears, Jaleel, Downs, Myers, Khalil. What should we be looking to do with waivers? I think number one priority would be seeing if we can go out there and see if we could get, I don't know if we need to start a tight end. If we need a tight end, Dalton Kincaid. I think Kincaid would be great for this team. Unless I'm seeing something. As you can tell, I'm squinting a little bit. I had to take a contact out earlier. But yeah, and I think that whoever we get off waivers, we are going to go ahead and we are going to look to drop Jaleel. At this point, Jaleel, not someone that I'm interested in. This is a running back that is currently in a 3-man running back by committee in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. So if we can cut Jaleel, go get someone like Kincaid, that would be the move I'm looking to make, my friend. Christian says 5-2, 10-team BBR, where we have Hurts, CMC, Eckler, Smith, Puka, Laporta, Jacobs, Terry, London, Spears, Charbonnet, Moss. Lost by 4 points. Need a new kicker. My man, I'm not going to be able to help you with kickers. And to be honest with you, what am I supposed to say with this team? This is phenomenal. We have CMC and Eckler in a full PBR format. We have Jalen Hurts. We have a team that is absolutely loaded. The only thing that I'd say is if you could send Zach Moss and say Terry McLaurin or Drake London and go get a stud wide receiver for wide receiver 2, that'd be something that we look to go ahead and do. But yeah, this is a great team as is. Seth says 6-1, 12-team PBR double flex league. We have CMC Hurts for Etienne, Evans, Addison. Now we have Hurts, CMC, Pollard, Javonte, Diggs, Puka, Higgins, Collins, Sutton. What are your thoughts? Etienne versus CMC, CMC by a mile. Evans versus Hurts, Hurts by a mile. We're paying Addison to get it done. I don't know. CMC played literally 100% of the snaps this week. How are y'all getting a discount at all on Christian McCaffrey? How is he someone that y'all are able to even trade for, let alone get that discount? Beautiful. Now, 420 Gale, long-time member of the flock, says 5-2, 12-team BBR, 1 point per rushing first down, single flex. We have Hurts. Love to see it. I mean, love the rushing quarterback in that kind of league. We have Kamara, Swift, Montgomery, Ford, Najee, Roshan, Spears, Hollywood, Tyreek, Addison, Michael Thomas. Would you move anyone for Jefferson to prepare for playoffs or hold Addison? Because we are 5-2, I think it does make a lot of sense for us to go out there and make that trade. The question is, what does that price point look like, right? We want to build around running back, which we've already done a good job of doing. But if you could sell, say, like David Montgomery and Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Swift and Hollywood Brown to go get Justin Jefferson, I think we go ahead and we make that deal specifically because this team is 5-2 where we are loaded up. The only hesitation that I have with it is the David Montgomery injury, obviously making it where we're going to get a little less value out of Montgomery if that's the guy that we look to sell. And if we look to sell someone else, then we're going to have a little less depth as well. Brian says, was offered Thielen for Swift in a 10-team PBR. I'm going to easily take Swift here. We have Etienne, Hall, Brian Robinson, Hunt. Yeah, so we're very strong at running back. I know you want a receiver upgrade. Huckam Horns, my friend. But ultimately, I mean, we need to be charging a premium if we are selling one of these running backs. I don't feel like we are getting that premium here. When you go through and look to make running back versus wide receiver rankings, it is a night and day difference with the availability of the positions. But that Vietnamese guy, long-time member of the flock, says, hello again. My roster is Lamar, JT, Cook, White, Najee, Spears, Chase, St. Brown, Waddle, Godwin, Judy, Laporta. Want to think about depleting this depth, and also how should we order our waivers between Javonte, Sanders, Gus, JSN, and Downs. Probably going to go JSN, then Javonte, then Downs, then Gus, then Sanders. And yeah, I mean, ultimately we are going to have to make some trades here if this is a spot where there are this many quality players off waivers. And I think what we're going to look to do is we're going to look to sell those guys that maybe have cap ceilings, but a high floor. I think that we can throw Najee Harris in that bucket at that point, saying that Najee probably does have a cap ceiling overall, just given the lack of efficiency, the lack of athleticism that he has. So if we could potentially go out there and look to sell maybe Najee Harris and Sam Laporta and just go make a play and get a player in like Mark Andrews, I think that would make a lot of sense if we could, my friend. I think that would make a lot of sense. Okay, let's move this down. Josh coming out saying 10-team PPR double flex, 3 and 4. We have Herbert, Gibbs, Barkley, Keenan, Ridley, Kincaid, Swift, Puka. Traded Hill for Keenan and Swift. Needed a ton of depth. Double flex format. I understand that we needed a little more depth, but ultimately, I don't like the deal. We should have kept Tyreek Hill. Keenan Allen does look like a borderline top 5 wide receiver. DeAndre Swift looks like a borderline top 10 running back. But there's a big difference between the wide receiver 5 and the wide receiver 1, at least in my mind. I would have rather had Tyreek here, my friend. And that Vietnamese guy saying any trades with the same players. We're 6-1. Hell, if we're 6-1 on a team like this, I think what we could also look to do is potentially go out there and sell like Waddle and Najee, right? Waddle and James Cook, Waddle and White, and go out and get someone like Justin Jefferson that does have that elite level ceiling for the long term. Now, Matt says 3 and 4, 10-team PPR. We have Mahomes, CMC, Walker, Charbonnet, Mitchell, Spears, Olave, Amari, Smith, Judy, Johnston, Goddard. What are we looking to do? Any trades or waiver wire moves? So very comfortable at running back, right? I mean, wide receiver has been disappointing as of late. I think it'll be much better going forward. I don't necessarily think that there are any moves that we are looking to make in terms of trades with this roster, which is really strong in my mind. We're more so going to be looking at making moves with waivers, especially in a 10-team league where we can assume that the options off the waiver wire are a little bit better. I would say at this point, Quentin Johnston is a player that we can just go ahead and cut. Elijah Mitchell is a player that we can cut as well. I think we're going to go out there and just look to pick up some guys that we like a little more. Now, Ty says traded Puka for Pollard, full PPR, because we're desperate at running back and stacked at receiver. With Kupp, Lamb, Thielen, and Jacoby. What are your thoughts? I think it makes a ton of sense. I would rather have Pollard over Puka rest of season. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think it's going to be too close either. Zach is back, says, hey man, Ridley is frustrating. Completely understand why. Pick 2, Ridley, Nico, Palmer, sitting at 5 and 2 in a 10-team league. Already starting Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So phenomenal team. I think Nico Collins is the must-start player here, and I don't think it's too close. If we are looking at Joshua Palmer versus Calvin Ridley, it's going to be tough for me with these wide receivers. I have them both ranked as low-end wide receiver 3s this week. I think you go Ridley for the ceiling, Palmer for the floor. I think I would tell most people Ridley. However, when we have this strong of a team, I think that you in particular could go ahead and just take the floor with Joshua Palmer. Dad says 5 and 2 PPR. We have Allen, Pollard, Brees, Adams, Puka, Goddard, Swift. Thielen, Pittman, Goddard, Osborne, Foreman, Roshan. Want to trade for TJ Hawkinson. I'd love to trade for Hawkinson, my friend. I mean, I think that we have a ton of depth here as well. Players that we can make this move with. I mean, my first offer would be seeing if we could sell Foreman, Roshan in a package and essentially sell it to the other guys saying, hey, no matter what, you're going to get the starter in Chicago. and see if we can sell those two guys with Dallas Goedert to go get to like the TJ Hawkinson or to go get to the Mark Andrews tier. I think that would make a lot of sense, because when you are looking to go through and sell, say, two running backs in that same backfield that are in like a murky situation that may end up being a running back by committee, you can kind of sell it to the other owners saying you're going to have someone to start no matter what. And the reality of the situation is, I mean, they're going to just be having a hard time figuring out who's the guy between the two. Troy's saying 12-team PPR double flex. We're 9-5. We have Herbert, Stevenson, Hunt, Hill, Puka, Logan Thomas, DJ Higgins. And then on the bench, we have Montgomery, Henderson, Elijah, Charbonnet, Wandale, Elijah Moore. Just traded away Brian Robinson for Higgins. Great move in a double flex full PPR format. Any other trades that we should be looking to make? So running back, definitely questionable, but this is a league where we are going to get David Montgomery back in the long term. In terms of trades, I don't necessarily think we have a lot of value. I mean, we've absolutely punted tight end as well. I would say we are going to look to punt tight ends, probably going to be in a format like this where we do have two flex spots and wide receivers going to make up a higher percentage of our starting lineup output overall. So I actually really like the way this team's constructed right this second, especially at a 9-5 team where we're looking for Montgomery for the long term. I'm trying to come up with anything for you, my man. We're rostered high upside running backs down there like Darrell Henderson and Zach Charbonnet as well, just so we can backfill for these guys that we possibly need at the top end. DJ Moore was that sell high guy for us 2 weeks ago before the Justin Fields injury, but now, honestly, I think he's appropriately priced. I am very sorry. I think this is a great team. I love the trade going out there and trading for Higgins, given this format in particular. I don't necessarily know if we were looking to make a trade from here, though. I think, honestly, from this point, you're probably just sitting on your hands. Aaron says, Chad, can you use all three special pick'ems in one slip? I am sorry, my friend, but no, you're not going to be able to use special pick'ems together. So yeah, Underdog is giving y'all 3 special pick'ems this week. If you are new to Underdog Fantasy, if you signed up to Underdog like a year ago, 2 years ago, still a great week for you. You're still going to get in a Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Monday night, and a LeBron James special pick'em, more than less than half a total point for NBA tip-off. But you're only going to also get the Josh Allen one. This is the new customer offer. This is the Flock exclusive just because so many people signed up with code FLOCK last week. They hooked us up. And then they also have that LeBron site-wide special, right? But you cannot like use all 3 of these together. They have to be separate slips. So I am sorry about that. It would be nice to just go through and say, oh, I'm going to take all 3 of these. No, but they have to be separate. And of course, if you wanted to get those 3, ladies and gentlemen, you can find that link in the live chat in the description in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match up to $100 with code FLOCK. And our rest of season rankings. Those 3 special pick'ems, only going to get all 3 with code FLOCK. And yeah, you can find that link in the live chat in the description. And it looks like we are only a few likes. We're 1 like away from hitting 300 likes on this stream. If you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button. Now, Joey says 14-team double flex, 4-3 in 5th place. We have Allen, Moore, Pickens, Eckler, Mixon, Hawkinson, Palmer, Warren, Zay, Pitts, Jamison, Latavius. Any moves? I was offered Hawkinson for Flowers and Goddard. Want to keep Hawkinson, but let me know. Very interesting, right? I would say typically this is going to be a spot where I want to go through and I want to hold on to Hawkinson. He has the elite level ceiling in the long term. I'm going to be looking to keep him. However, with this team in particular, you are sitting here, my friend, with a 14-team double flex league where depth's going to be very hard to come by. Where if we're submitting a starting lineup, Jalen Warren may have to be in it as it currently stands. So I would tell the majority of people the exact opposite. Like if you're playing in a 10-team league with only 1 flex spot, then I would easily want TJ Hawkinson over Zay Flowers and Dallas Goedert. But specifically with this team, I honestly would not mind at all making that play for Goddard. Now, Matthew says 14-team league, 6-1. We have Cousins, Kamara, Etienne, Amon-Ra, Kirk, Hawkinson, Hollywood. Best bench players, Robert Woods. Any moves, non-fab waiver wire. So obviously 14-team league, going back to what we were talking about previously, depth is going to be significantly harder to come by. I would say that this team in a full PBR league is sitting pretty in the starting lineup, looking to make no moves. Non-PBR league, then at that point, probably looking to go ahead and sell someone like Alvin Kamara. But nonetheless, really the only thing that we can be doing with this team is just going through and consistently churning those waivers to hopefully in the long term get some guys we're excited about. Now, Joel says 4 flex spots, Lamb, Kamara for Kelsey, Addison, Pacheco. Lamb to Kelsey, upgrade. Kamara to Pacheco, downgrade in a full PPR league. But getting Jordan Addison in a league with 4 flex spots where depth is significantly harder to come by, this is where I'm going to be fine going out there and making that move. Now, shots coming out saying 2 and 5, 10-team PPR. Burrow, Geno, Mostert, Javonte, Brian Robinson, Kyron Ford, Olave, Puka, Jefferson, Palmer, Sutton. I feel like we need a better running back too. I got offered Hall and Zay for Puka and Kyron. Do I accept? I would say in general for this team, you're 2 and 5. We need to stop thinking about long-term upside. We need to start thinking about how we're going to get points in here right this second. So I really do like the idea of trading away Kyron Williams, especially if we are going to be getting Breece Hall in return. So I would say that this isn't necessarily the best value in the world. However, specifically with our team where we need running back and our record where we can't really just bank on the long-term upside of Kyron Williams, probably a trade that we actually want to go out there and make. Dylan says 5 and 2 PBR. Running backs are Swift, Jacobs, Tajee, Pierce, Gainwell. Should we trade Jacobs, Hopkins, or Palmer for Breece or Kenneth Walker? Oh, hell yes, we're doing that. More likely to get Breece. Good trade for either. I would for sure try to go Kenneth Walker. The thing is, in my mind, like DeAndre Hopkins has literally no value at this point. So I'd be completely fine doing either because I am a little bit worried about Josh Jacobs at this point. D-Lang says, few questions. Happy BR, Logan Thomas or Michael Mayer rest of season? I think Logan Thomas gives you a higher floor. Michael Mayer gives you a higher ceiling. Offer DJ Moore, Jalen Warren for Bijan Robinson. I'll take Bijan there easily. And then Udo Flex, Ramondre White, Zay, or Hollywood. It's tough with the matchup that you have for Rachaad White this week going up against Buffalo. I think it will be down to one of the running backs for us, though. And if you look at my rankings this week, I have White at 20 and Stevenson at 21. So I probably do go Rachaad White, but it is damn close. Now, Ben says 10-team full BBR. Goff, Stroud, Bijan, Montgomery, H.N. Spears, Wilson, Gibbs, Chase, Adams, Allen, Myers, Higgins, Kyler. Started 5-0, dropped the last 2. Should we be worried? And any moves I should make? Love the content. Thank you, my friend. So, we're sitting at 5 and 2. We have Kyler coming in for the long-term upside. I would say the only thing is if you could sell like Stroud and get a viable running back in for the short term, I think that makes sense. I don't necessarily think you need to go out there and full-blown panic. It's completely understandable that we lost the last 2 weeks. I mean, I can already know why this happened. I mean, just briefly looking at the team where you had both David Montgomery and Devon Achane get injured. Since we are 5 and 2, this isn't a situation where we need to panic and go out there and look to sell one of these guys. If we could bring in some depth, go pick up like Darrell Henderson off waivers, that'd be nice. In reality, we just have to be patient for these guys to come back in. Seth says 2 and 5, 12-team PBR. We have Burrow, Bijan, Cook, Lamb, Moore, Musgrave, Godwin, Higgins, Frymuth, Kyron, Achane, Elijah, Roshan. The waivers are Kincaid and Palmer. So go first, drop Frymuth, go get Kincaid. Second, drop Elijah Moore, go get Palmer. And third and fourth, unlike the other team that we just looked at that was 5 and 2 and had these injured running backs, and we were saying you hold on to them, you're thinking long-term upside. This team's not thinking long-term upside. This team's thinking, how do I get points in this lineup right now? So what I would look to do, my friend, is I would look to go ahead and see if we could potentially sell Achane, even if we're having to do so at a loss for what his long-term upside is. It still probably does make sense for us to. And then I'd also probably be looking to go through and sell Kyron Williams for that same reason, right? I mean, kind of keep it a little simple here. Okay. Now, next switch coming out from Garrett says, trade DJ Brian Robinson for Jacobs. We need a running back. I am fine with it, with Brian Robinson losing his job. I'm going to have a hard time screaming for everybody to go out there and buy Jacobs right now, though. I do think that it's fair if you wanted to be concerned. Now, Ray says 8-team Superflex. 2 receivers. We have Saquon, JT, Ramondre Hunt, Jefferson, Lamb, Amon-Ra, Ayuk. Got offered Kupp and Jacobs for Jefferson. Should we take it? Love the content. 2 years with the flock. Appreciate you, my friend. 8-team league, I'd say typically no. We're just going to want to keep the player that has the most upside for the long term, which does look to be Justin Jefferson. The only instance I would go through and sell Jefferson for this package is if you were sitting there and you were 2-5, where you were saying, Mason, you know what, man, even if it's an 8-team league, even if I am supposed to go for that long-term upside, I need points in right now, then it would make somewhat sense for you to go through and make that play. So Rom, always happy to see us as 3 and 4 BBR shallow format. We have Hurts, Hall, Javonte, Hunt, HN, Freeman, Gainwell, AJ Brown, Hopkins, Gabe, JSN, Jameson, Dobbs, Kelsey. Any trades? Got offered Etienne and Jonnu for Kelsey and Javonte. What are your thoughts? Okay, first thing is, my friend, please message me on Discord if you don't have a flock hat or a flock shirt. Let me make sure I get you hooked up if you want something. So please shoot me a message on Discord. I'd love to send you some merch, please. Second thing is, I'm going to be very hesitant to sell Kelsey in a shallow format. I understand the thought process, though, when we have the HN injury and we're 3 and 4 and we need points right now. So if you were very concerned about what you're going to have at running back, we can go and we can see what value we'd get for Kelsey. Like, if we can sell Kelsey for, like, Eckler and Goddard, then maybe, you know? I'm trying to think of what else we can do here. We could also just see what kind of value you could get for Devon Achane, because maybe you'd be surprised. Maybe you can go out there and sell Achane right now and go get like Breece Hall, go get Saquon Barkley, go get DeAndre Swift. Like, go get one of those running backs that should be about the same as him in the long term, but also we're going to get points in the short term as well. That could be something we look to do. Bones happy to see us says traded Eckler, Rice, Foreman for Swift and Henry. What are your thoughts? The team's now Purdy, Swift, Henry, Diggs, Jefferson, Laporta, Connor. Eckler to Swift, downgrade. Rice and Foreman to Henry, it's an upgrade. If it is a full BBR format, to be honest with you, I'd probably keep Austin Eckler. Non-BBR league, I think you make the argument for Derrick Henry. I mean, I really didn't draft any Austin Eckler this year, but still, once you have Mike Williams go down, the target share should be consistent. At least I'd imagine it would be. Jack says, do we trade Ridley for Flowers? And do we trade Stroud, Madison, Davis, Michael Mayer, and Jameson for Rasheed, Burrow, and Kincaid? Stroud to Burrow, upgrade. Michael Mayer to Kincaid, upgrade. Jameson, no real value. Davis to Rashee Rice, up to you. We're trading Madison to get it done. Madison's now splitting with Akers. Yes, let's go get the best player. Let's go get Burrow. And Kincaid looks great with the Dawson Knox injury. And then trading Ridley for Flowers. Yes, I do have Flowers over Calvin Ridley in my rest of season rankings. Anonymous says drop Jaleel or Charbonnet for Henderson or Dermicado. We have Javonte. I would drop Jaleel way before Charbonnet. Because if Kenneth Walker gets injured, then at that point, Zach Charbonnet is a league-winning running back. Where if Javonte gets injured, then at that point, Jaleel is splitting a backfield with Samaje Perine on one of the worst offenses in the NFL. And yeah, I think you go get Henderson or Dermicado. I mean, you may have a little bit of a longer runway with Henderson, but Dermicado is going to be seeing a higher percentage of his backfield, at least with what we saw this past week. Aaron says, hey, Mace, Kupp for Hawkinson, Zay Flowers. I'm going to go ahead. I will take Kupp here, my friend, but you know I love Hawkinson. So Rom says, same team as question 1. If I do Kelsey for a top running back, who would you rate more, Ferguson or Kincaid? I'm going to want Kincaid over Ferguson. Also, should I try to upgrade on Hopkins and JSN? And who to target with running backs, Etienne, Bijan, Pollard, Jacobs? I want a top 3 running back minimum if I'm selling Kelsey. Jacobs would be way too little. Etienne, Bijan, Pollard are all about in that range. I would try to get a little bit more juice out of that as well. I mean, picking up another wide receiver we could feel confident with. I mean, I'm completely fine going and seeing what kind of value we could get for DeAndre Hopkins. If you wanted to see if we could send, say, Kelsey and Hopkins and go get, say, Bijan Robinson and a much better wide receiver than DeAndre Hopkins, we can go ahead and look to try to make that move, my friend. And like I said, again, let me remind you, please shoot me a message on Discord. Let me get you a hat. Let me get you a shirt. Let me get you something, my man, assuming you don't already have it. Maybe you already have a hat. I don't know if we got you a shirt, though, so please. Now, Sebastian says, what's up, man? 12-team full BBR, 2 and 5, double flex. Got Stroud, Eckler, Etienne, Mostert, Waddle, Lamb, Hawkinson. And then on the bench, we have Pickens, Pitts, Wandale, Jameson. Any moves? Hawkinson and Mostert for Pollard. Double flex league, the depth's going to matter a little bit more. We have Pitts on the bench, so I guess we could do this if you wanted. I definitely would rather, I would sell Pitts and Mostert for Pollard. Hawkinson and Mostert may seem a little bit tough, specifically because we are 2 and 5. And on this 2 and 5 team, we need to be prioritizing production right this second, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, Mostert's going to crush with the Achane injury. And on top of that, you're going to have Hawkinson crushing with the Jefferson injury in the short term. So those just specifically aren't the guys that I'm looking to sell. I like the idea of the move. Instead, I think we'd be trying to sell like Pitts in it. And then outside of that, I don't necessarily see it into any trades that stand out because it's a double flex league. We're going to build a little more around that wide receiver depth. Lance says trade Henry and Najee for Bijan Robinson. Yes, I would go get Bijan there if it's a full PPR league. Now, Jordan says 12-team full BBR. I'm 4 and 3. Barkley, Jacobs, Hill, Achane, Ayuk, Addison, Pittman, Hollywood, Kirk, Deontay. Week 13 with Jacobs and Barkley on bye. Got interest for Pittman, for Najee, Herbert, or Amari, Connor. What are your thoughts? Okay, don't really care about what a week 13 bye looks like at this point, my friend. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I would rather probably have Pittman over these guys if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Especially we'll have Devon Achane back by that time. It's a phenomenal team, but we have, Tyreek. Or maybe that's Justice Hill that you're telling us. Regardless, we have wide receivers with a lot of upside as well. We're 4 and 3, so we are right in the mix with everyone. If we could sell Kirk at that price point, then yes, we do it. If we can sell Hollywood at that price point, then yes, we do it. Deontay at that price point, then yes, we do it. But if you're looking at the consistent volume that you are getting from Michael Pittman, I personally am going to have a very hard time going through and telling someone to sell Michael Pittman right now. Now, Riley says, hey, 12-team PPR where we have Etienne, Eckler, Taylor, Hall. Looking to trade one for a receiver, but don't know who to give up or who to get. Jefferson, manager declined. We have Hollywood, Olave, London, and Terry. So if you are going to look to sell one of these running backs, Travis Etienne is one of my most drafted running backs this year. I have Etienne everywhere, but I can also acknowledge the fact that Travis Etienne is a running back that has scored 6 touchdowns over the past 3 games. Probably not going to continue to happen. And you're not really going to get much value out of Hall, Eckler, or Taylor right now. So Etienne probably would be the guy that I'm looking to sell. Sorry, I'm pulling up our rankings on flockfantasy.com to give you an idea, and I just noticed we're having a bug with flockfantasy.com, so got to send that to the dev team. But now that we got that out of the way, let me go ahead and pull up my rankings, not just the expert rankings. 2. Okay, so what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at running backs, wide receivers here. So receivers that I have directly ahead of ETN that I think would be an interesting sell. If you could pivot from like ETN, say, and go out there and get maybe a Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that'd make a lot of sense. AJ Brown, Cooper Kupp. Maybe just Keenan Allen in a full BBR format. I think that is what we would be looking to do. Now, Alex says 10-team at BBR, 3 receivers, 2 flex, 3 and 4. Burrow, Chase, Waddle, Puka, JT Pacheco, Andrews, Rice, Michael Thomas. And then on the bench, we have Amari, Wilson, Ford, Stevenson, Purdy. What's the move here? I was going to say we have a ton of depth with this team, but this is a team that needs depth because you can start 5 wide receivers in a week-to-week perspective. So it seems like starting Chase, Waddle, Puka, JT Pacheco, and then still starting Amari and Wilson since it's a double flex league as well. I don't necessarily see something if you really wanted to go out there and see if we could sell like Puka. I'm sorry, not Puka. See if we can sell Ford and Amari or Ford and Wilson and go get a wide receiver upgrade in this league in particular. I think that could be somewhat interesting. But by no means is that something that we need to do. Now, Abraham says 12-team BBR 3 and 4. We have Allen, Goff, Jacobs, Pierce, Montgomery, Jaleel, Diggs, Puka, Addison, Downs, London, Lockett, Laporta. We want to upgrade at running back. Who do we target and who can we give? Okay. If we are looking to sell someone here, I think maybe Downs would be the guy that we're looking to give up. If you could go sell like Downs and Pierce, Goff and Pierce, Goff, Downs and Pierce, and go just get a viable running back, right? Go get someone like James Cook. I think that would make a lot of sense. Just given the fact that we really just need someone that we can get in with a high floor until we get Montgomery back in. Chief Perp, always happy to see us, says, double flex with only one wide receiver. Etienne, Barkley, Jacobs, Walker, Swift, Jones, Puka, Flowers, Collins, Ridley, Watson. So our 2 running backs here, we're going to be going with Etienne and Walker. Actually, do we want to sneak in Swift? No, we're going to go Etienne with Walker. My hesitation is Walker is a very tough matchup against Cleveland, but still. Then the wide receiver we're going to go with will end up being Puka. And then the 2 flexes we're going to go with, we'll go with DeAndre Swift. And then as much as I don't want to say I hate it, but as much as I'm not excited about it, I think we will go ahead and we'll just play Josh Jacobs here, right? We'll just take Jacobs. Now, In says 10-team, 4 and 3. We have Lamar, Saquon, JT, Diggs, Keenan, Kittle, Pacheco, Jones, Hunt, Addison, Palmer, Judy, Jet, Wilson. We want an upgrade at tight ends or running back. First thing is, if you can go out there and pick up Kincaid off waivers, I think that'd make a lot of sense for this team. Second thing is, if you wanted to make a trade at running back, I really don't understand it when we have Saquon, JT, and Jones, and Pacheco. I completely understand thinking that we possibly want to go out there and upgrade at running back based off what we've had so far this season. But let's just rationally think about this, right? This is a team where Saquon got injured, JT got injured, Aaron Jones got injured. They should all be healthier now than they've been all season at this point. So honestly, I would say this is now probably the worst time if you were to go out there and make a trade to be trying to upgrade at running back. I think you're probably sitting still. I don't mind at all trying to go get that elite level tight end though. If you could send like George Kittle and Addison and go get Travis Kelce, let's do it in a heartbeat. Or if you could sell Hunt and George Kittle and go get Mark Andrews, go get TJ Hawkinson, we do that as well. Jade says, except Amon-Ra Olave for Diggs, London, Kincaid. I'm probably going to go with the Diggs side. I think he's the best player. And I think Kincaid's not someone you want to be selling right now, given the Knox injury. No Instagram says, what do you think? Swift for Devontae or Swift and Zay for Diggs and Rashad White? I would way rather trade Swift and Zay for Diggs and Rashad White. That would be a move that I'm looking to make. Haben says, if the Titans move off Henry, where is Spears valued? He'll be a running back with a nice workload, particularly as a pass catcher, but the issue is similar to the same issue that you have with Derrick Henry currently. It's a horrendous offense with very bad quarterback play with a very bad offensive line as well. So I'd say we'd probably have Spears as a low-end RB2. J-Mac, always happy to see us, says, I traded Bijan, Ridley, Roshan for Brian Robinson, White, and Hollywood Brown. Oh my, why? Why? Ridley to Hollywood, lateral move, slide upgrade. Bijan to Brian Robinson and Rachaad White, massive downgrade. 12-team PPR, we have Love, Fields, Javonte, Achane, Montgomery, Godwin, Jacoby, Hockenson, Tank, Jameson. I can't take the chance on Bijan and Ridley again. How bad did I lose the deal? I understand going out there and selling low on Ridley. Bijan had a headache, right? It's not like this is predictive of what we should expect long-term with his workload. So, to be honest with you, I think that you definitely lost it. I think you should have been a little more patient with Bijan. I'm sorry to say it, my friend. I am sorry to say that. Shedman says, what's up, bro? 14-team at PBR. Cousins, Etienne, Bigsby, Henry, Spears, Pierce, Singletary. Keenan, Olave, Flowers, Addison, JSN, Ingram. Running back scared me this year, so we went with 3 handcuffs and he moves. I don't like handcuffing running backs because we're allocating 6 roster spots to 3 playable guys at the very most. So it's going to raise our floor, but it's going to lower our ceiling. Now, with that being said, outside of that, love what we have with Cousins. Strong wide receivers, and these rookies will continue to get better as well. We have a tight end that we can start every single week. So yeah, I really like the team. The only thing is I'm not a big fan of going out there and handcuffing every running back that we have. Now, Wolf says Chase for Eckler, Thomas, Waller. We have Barkley, Montgomery, Olave, Smith, Lamb. The waiver wire running backs are Latavius and Chuba Hubbard. Chase versus Eckler. Give me Chase rest of season. Thomas doesn't really have any value for me. Waller, it kind of depends on you. I think he's a mid tight end 1, low end tight end 1. I think it is a very fair deal, and it's going to be up to you. I think it is a very fair deal, and it's up to you. Barrett says 12-team PBR 6-1. We have Herbert, Walker, A.J. Brown, Keenan, Schultz, Myers, Pickens, Jamal, Foreman, Gabe Davis, Charbonnet, Hardman, and he moves. First thing is, let's cut McCall Hardman. He did nothing in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, all with the Chiefs. A new team gave him a shot in 2023. They saw him, went, nah, we're good. Hardman has no upside. Let him go. I would love to see if we could go out there and send like Foreman and like Jacoby Myers and go get Jefferson and go get that player with long-term upside. In reality, I think this team's already done a phenomenal job of going out of our way and selling the depth for studs like A.J. Brown and Keenan Allen. We have Keenan stacked up with Herbert already through their bye as well. So I think that you're in a very comfortable spot. The one thing is, if we are in first place, I'm always going to see if we can get that discount on Jefferson. The second thing is, you could potentially go out there and look to upgrade over Alexander Madison at RB2 now that Akers get involved again. Now, Sacramento says 10-team PBR double flex 5-2. We have Stroud, Bijan, Hall, Chase, Olave, Andrews, Gibbs, Puka, Lawrence, Addison, Myers, Laporta, Cooper. Need help. Want to trade for Jefferson. They're 3 and 4. I would love to trade for Jefferson here, my friend. Can't sell Chase for Jefferson, however. Can't sell Bijan for Jefferson. I think if you wanted to go through and see if we could package together, say, like Puka and I don't even know if we have to go that high. I would first offer like Addison and Laporta. If you could offer like Addison and Laporta for Jefferson, I think that makes so much sense. on a team where we also have Mark Andrews. I think we are wanting to sell one of those tight ends, whether that's Andrews or Laporta. I've been saying, we wanted to sell Laporta over Andrews now for the past few weeks, but I guess maybe if we get the blow up week from Andrews, if you wanted to sell Andrews for Jefferson straight up, that could also be something we look to do. Okay, let's refresh this. Next question is from Preston. Can we keep pulling these up, or we're going to have to switch over? Nope, we're going to have to switch over just for a second, ladies and gentlemen. And then we'll be able to bring these back to this page. But let me pull up the questions on the other screen. That way we can keep on getting them for y'all. And real quick, if you have not done so already, it looks like only about 8% of y'all have gone down there and dropped a like on this live stream. Please go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, for NBA tip-off, they have a site-wide special LeBron James more than less than half a total point. They have the customer offer that they always do. If you sign up, you are going to get a special pick'em. This week, it's going to be a Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. But because we had so many people sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK last week, you're also going to get an Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick'em on top of that. 3 special pick'ems. Make sure you take advantage of it. Plus the 100% deposit match. Yada, yada, yada. Links in the live chat. But we said our next question was from Preston. So this question is, me again, 18 PPR. We got Hurts, Mixon, Eckler, AJ Brown, Ridley, Goddard, Hopkins, Javonte, Rice, Palmer, Kyler, Brian Robinson, 2 and 5. Any thoughts? Really appreciate it, bro. Appreciate you, my man. Brutal spot with the Eckler injury all season. Yeah, Javonte get injured as well. The only thing I'd say, it's an 8-team league. Every chance that we get to go out there and upgrade in the starting lineup, we're going to do so. I think especially at tight end in an 8-team league, it's going to be very important to get the best player that we can, because everybody's going to be strong at running back, wide receiver. So I'd say the first thing I'm going to look to do is see if we can take, say, Dallas Goedert and one of these depth pieces, whether that's Rice, Palmer, Kyler, Brian Robinson, Hopkins, Javonte, literally any of those guys, and go get an upgraded tight end, go get to Andrews, Laporta, Hawkinson. And then the other thing that we would probably be looking at is if you could go through and get any value out of Kyler whenever we have Jalen Hurts there, especially on a 2 and 5 team, probably something we do. Now, Papa Jaruski says 3 and 4, 12-team PBR double flex. Lawrence, CMC, Eckler, Cup, Olave, Kincaid, Higgins, Amari, Connor, Warren, Sanders, JSN, Dotson, traded JT, MT for Eckler and Amari. Want a trade for Chase. Very strong trade for Eckler there. I mean, if you wanted to go out there and get Chase, you'd have to be giving up an elite piece, of course. You'd have to be going out there and trading Cup. If you wanted to sell like Cup and Connor for Chase, I would like to do that. It is a little bit tougher in that double flex league. Now, Sam says traded Gibbs and Palmer for Bijan. Was this a good trade? That is a great trade, my friend. Jimmy says trade Tank Dell for T. Higgins. 100% we would look to do that. Now, Royer says 10-team non-PBR 3 and 4. We have Hurts, Higgins, McLaurin, Watson, Hopkins, JSN, Pacheco, Jones, Mixon, Connor, Chuba, Moss, Andrews, Laporta. Who can we trade away to get an upgrade at wide receiver or running back? So I think if you have both Andrews and Laporta, especially with the state of the tight end position right now, I mean, there will be a team that's willing to go out there and willing to give you a significant piece for one of these guys. I probably would be looking to go through and just get a wide receiver. I think that they'll be cheaper, to be honest. Like if you wanted to sell maybe Andrews and go get Devontae Adams, I wouldn't fault you at all for making a move like that. But yeah, that's going to be the structure of the trade that we are looking to make. Manny says, been watching since 2020 and crazy to see how much the channel's grown. Thank you so much for all the support, my man. 12-team PBR trade, JT for Bijan. Hell yes. Also, Pierce, Ayuk, or Henry, Higgins. I'm 5 and 2. Give me Henry over Ayuk. Give me Higgins over Pierce. So yes, I would honestly make both those trades. And thank you so much for everything. Now, Wyatt says, just traded Kittle, Sutton for Zay. We also have Kincaid. I honestly think that we probably sold too low there. Burner account says Kincaid, Schultz for Evan Ingram, who has, depends what the roster spot's worth, right? Depends on what we're going to be able to get off of waivers there. I would say if it wasn't for the Knox injury, it would be Evan Ingram easily. But now Kincaid does look very exciting. Now Barrett says, full BBR 12-team league. We have Lawrence, Kyler, Bijan, Hunt, Spears, Sanders, St. Brown, Puka, Pickens, Amari, Waller, Frymuth. Any trades? Seems like it's a natural combo. A lot of people having Lawrence and Kyler, which I do really like because I do think that you have that long-term upside with Kyler, of course, and he can make a difference. If this is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I'd be looking to go through and see if we can take a wide receiver like George Pickens and send him with Kareem Hunt to go get a long-term upgrade at running back. And if we can't put Pat Frymuth on the IR and instead he's just actually on a bench spot, I think we'd probably look to cut Pat Frymuth. Now, Andrew says, I'm back again, 12-team 5-2, leading the league in record and points. Hurts, White, Pacheco, Hill, AJ, Andrews, Rice, Debo, Pierce, Zeke, Jonnu. Have an offer of Hall and Evan Ingram for Mark Andrews. What do you do? Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. I think that Evan Ingram is still someone that we can start every single week. I still think that he is, about a top 5 tight end. So I think arguably he's right there at tight end 5. Breece Hall coming in would be a significant upgrade over what we have currently at running back with Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco as our top 2 guys. So I think that this is a very fair price point to go out there and get Breece Hall. And at the same time, you do get that extra game from Hall, who's already made it through his bye. Kelvin says, hey Mason, greetings from Brazil, 7-0, 10-team PBR, single flex. We have Allen, Pacheco, Bijan, Hill, AJ, Addison. And then on the bench, Love, HN, Kyron, DK, Olave, any moves. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, my man. I think this is a team where you just have so much depth here with guys down on the bench that I think in the long term, we would love to go out there and make that 2-for-1 deal. And honestly, we could possibly afford to go get Kelsey in this league. If you wanted to see if we could send like Pacheco and Hawkinson, Addison and Hawkinson, HN and Hawkinson, and go see if we can get Kelsey. But ultimately, you're 7-0 and we're loaded up on these guys that are going to continue to increase their value as the season goes on, like Devon Achane. So I think you're already in a great spot. Now, Cam says, would you trade London Madison for Mostert? If you need a running back right now, of course. But the issue is if HN comes back, what does the role look like then? Now, James says, Mahomes, Waddle, Ridley, CMC, Walker, Hawkinson, JT, Godwin, Watson, Henderson, Hunt, Warren, 10-team BBR. Who can I get in a trade for a better receiver? 5-2 and in first place. So yeah, Ridley right now as your wide receiver 2, something you're not too excited about. We have wide receivers with upside down there on the bench. I would say if you were going to make a move, you're essentially going to go through and you're going to look to sell Kareem Hunt. Because the thing with Hunt, right, is he's in the best situation you're going to ask for with the Jerome Ford injury on top of the Chubb one. So if you're not starting Kareem Hunt now, then we're pretty much never going to use him. So I'd look to go and see if we can send Kareem Hunt with one of those wide receivers in the starting lineup to get that upgrade and kind of cash in on some of that value while we can. Now, Gary says trade Breece for Olave. We have HN, Montgomery, Barkley, Pollard, Foreman, Henderson, Smith, Waddle, Lockett, London, Hopkins. 2 and 5 or any other moves. I think that if you wanted to send HN, then maybe we could go ahead and look to do that. Definitely can't be selling Breece for Olave. You're just selling way too low at this point. And I agree. I think that when we have this kind of running back firepower, it does make sense to make a move like that. You just need to be charging more. Now, AJ says, Pearson, Singletary on waivers. Which one should we prioritize against Carolina? In our rankings this week, I ranked these guys back to back. Singletary was the guy this past, 2 weeks ago, last time we saw this team. Pierce is the guy every other week. I still put Pierce one spot ahead of Singletary, but really is up to you, my friend. Jose says trade Andrews for Walker and Kincaid. Hell yes, I'm going to go get Kenneth Walker and Dalton Kincaid there. Cody says, back from break from 1-4 to 3-4. Hell yeah, my man. And back in the hunt, we have Lawrence, Etienne, Pollard, Gibbs, Cook, Roschon, Henderson, Freeman, Diggs, Ayuk, Pickens, Bourne. Kyler on the IR. 6 teams make the playoffs. Again, yet another Lawrence Kyler team. I'm trying to think of what we can do. This is a great build. I think that, it's very hard to go out there and say like something we need to do with this team. I think what would be interesting and what I always try to do is see if we can take guys like, say, send both the combination of Henderson and Freeman, right? And kind of sell it as, hey, man, you're for sure going to get the starting running back in Los Angeles. Whereas the reality of the situation is, both those players together are kind of nice to have, but you don't know who you should start on a week-to-week perspective. You don't know what the ceiling is. Our team's never going to start them anyway. So if we could sell like Henderson and Freeman as a package deal with maybe like George Pickens and go get a significant wide receiver upgrade, I'd really like that. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But our next question coming out from, I believe, A Money says, 10 TPBR, traded Jacobs and Najee for Bijan. How did I do? Phenomenal move. Especially in a 10-team league where the depth doesn't matter nearly as much as just getting the best guy that we can in the starting lineup. Najee doesn't look startable unless you have an injury to Warren with them splitting 50-50. Now, WTF says 6-1 Walker and Downs for Jefferson and White. Oh, we're for sure going to go out there and get Jefferson White in this deal. Obviously, 6-1, we are looking long-term for just raw upside. Now, keep coming out saying 10-team PBR 4-3. We have Lamar, Eckler, Walker, Jacobs, Sanders, Pierce, Henderson, Kyron, Brown, Lamb, Evans, Pickens, Amari, Laporta. Should we do Evans and Jacobs for Saquon and then any other moves? So if this is a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex where we have this kind of depth, I'm fine making that trade. Not necessarily something that I love. I would love to sell Pickens instead if you wanted to go out there and make that trade. And outside of that, I think it's a very fine team. We are obviously loaded up on running back depth, which, when all else is equal, if it's a shallow format like this, we'll always be able to get a wide receiver off waivers. So I agree in loading up on running back depth. Now, Jacob says 10-team PBR, 2 receivers, 1 flex, 5-2. We have Hurts, Bijan, Walker, AJ Brown, Evans, Collins, Myers, Andrews, London, Schultz, Stroud, Ridley, who to flex, and any waiver moves. So we're going to be going with Bijan, Walker at running back. Wide receiver, we're going to be going with AJ Brown, and then, the wide receiver is going to be tough here. I'm operating under the assumption that we are starting 2 wide receivers. If you look at my wide receiver rankings, I have Myers at 18. I have Evans at 19. I have Collins at 17. So I literally have all these wide receivers ranked back to back to back. We're going to be flexing Jonathan Taylor anyway. Yeah, so flex JT, pick between those wide receivers, which one you want to start. I have it as Nico Collins, but like I said, they're all back to back to back. It can change tomorrow. So I do think, honestly, it is just kind of up to you here. Now, Buzz Lightyear says 10-team BBR, where we have Lamar, Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan, Pacheco, Pittman, Amari, got offered Jacobs and Taji for Jonathan Taylor. Also got offered Hill to Taji for Lamar, Kamara, and JT. So give me JT over Jacobs and Taji Spears at this point in a 10-team league where depth doesn't matter. And then Lamar versus Tua, give me Lamar, Kamara and JT versus Hill and Taji. Give me Hill and Taji. I think both trades are close, and it really does come down to your thoughts on Jonathan Taylor. And the only thing I would ask is, like, why are we trying to sell Jonathan Taylor, right? Like, if we held JT all year to just go ahead and sell him right as he starts breaking out, why did we have him in the first place, you know? Now, Jeremiah says 2-5, 10-team BBR. We have Stroud, Lawrence, Shamar, Amon-Ra, Etienne, Jacobs, Kyle Pitts, Flowers, Rashad White, Michael Thomas, Tank Dell, Bourne, Kincaid. Any moves? So we can start the quarterbacks based off matchups. We have 2 elite level wide receivers. Jamar already threw his bye. We have Kincaid here as well, is going to be better as the season progresses. So this is a very well-balanced team. And honestly, I don't have much. I mean, if we could go out there and sell like Zay Flowers and Lawrence and get a quarterback upgrade, we would. If you could sell Zay Flowers and Pitts and go get a tight end upgrade, we would. Just much easier said than done. Now, Patrick says, PBR 4-3, 2 quarterback league. We have Hurts, Jones, Hall, Jones, Waddle, Wilson, Kelsey, Stevenson, Taji, JSN, Kyler, Amari, Watson. Any moves? So it's actually going to be a nice spot getting Kyler Murray back in for this team. And hopefully Daniel Jones back this week. Getting Aaron Jones back in. Getting the Breece Hall expansion. Also, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson already threw their bye. Phenomenal team, to be honest with you. And we're dealing with the James Conner injury. So it looks like across the board, this is an okay team for right now. But in the long term, if we just sit on our hands and be patient with it, as we get these guys back from injuries, it's just going to get better and better and better. So I think the number one thing that we need to do with this team is just be patient and honestly just sit on our hands here. Now, Shot says Logan Thomas, Kyle Pitts, or Dalton Kincaid. This week, I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. Rest of season, I think you can make an argument for Kincaid. Now, 44 MSU, always happy to see it. My man says 10-team BBR 5-2. Tua, Bijan, Walker, Waddle, AJ Brown, Andrews, Flowers. The bench is Ridley, Nico, Spears, Kyler, Achane. Mixon's also on waivers. What the heck, my man? Do we hold Achane or package him to try to upgrade somewhere else? So the question is, right, if you have Devon Achane, who does he have the most value for? He probably has the most value for like a 5-2 team where we are looking to be competitive in the long term, specifically for the fantasy football playoffs, right? So I would say that honestly, I'm probably not going to be looking to go through and sell Achane here. I just think he's going to have more value to you than he would someone else. Maybe we could look to sell him when he gets back and that value just naturally is accrued. I would love to go out there and get Mixon off waivers. I think we drop Spears. We drop Kyler or Latavius, whoever that is, for Mixon immediately. Probably not Spears, just in case Derrick Henry is traded this week. If it's a fab system, I'd blow literally all my fab to make that move. And then as soon as we do get a Ridley spike week, then maybe we look to go and move on from Ridley. It's just going to be difficult to do so right now. Now, Medi coming out saying 8-team Happy BR League, 3-4. Sent Etienne, Hollywood for Lamb and Olave. Etienne to Lamb downgrade. Hollywood to Olave upgrade. I'd probably rather have the best player in the deal in an 8-team league. I'd probably rather have the Etienne side. Then the Dallas defense, Goddard, Lamb for Kittle and Amon-Ra. Give me Amon-Ra over give me Amon-Ra over Lamb. Give me Kittle over Goddard. The Dallas defense is whatever. So I really like the second deal. Also, send Amon-Ra and a wide receiver 2 for Jefferson. I would say no. I like the idea in an 8-team league to just go and get that elite level player for the long term here. My issue that we're going to have is this 3-4 team where we can't necessarily just say, yeah, the only thing that matters is chasing that long-term upside, right? Let's go get the best player that we can for the long term. No, instead, we are in a spot where we want to go ahead and we do want to look a little bit more balanced right now. Okay. Now, Chase coming out saying 7-0, happy BR single flex, 8-team league. We need a tight end upgrade. Any ideas? We have Mahomes, Brees, Walker, Tyreek, Diggs, Ingram, JT, Gibbs, Amari, Flowers, Jameson, and Stroud. So I 100% agree. I'd say in an 8-team league, we're going to be fine going out there and overpaying for that tight end upgrade. And I would say if we could send maybe like Jahmyr Gibbs and Evan Ingram and go get Mark Andrews, go get TJ Hawkinson, I think that make a lot of sense in an 8-team league where we're not really going to be using, say, Gibbs ourselves, right? Now, Ethan says, got offered Aaron Jones, Pittman for Nico and Mostert. Two and 5 teams, so we're going to go Nico and Mostert. We need the points right now. Team is Burrow, Mostert, Henderson, DK, Nico, Kincaid, Flowers, Foreman, Kyron, and Khalil Herbert on the bench as well. I think we're going to hold on to the Mostert side. Mostert should be productive until we have HN back in, as right. We are 2 and 5. If we were looking to make this trade, I think we're going to be looking to sell Kyron instead of Mostert, with this team being 2 and 5. Now, Julio says 12 team, 2 and 5 PBR. We have Lawrence Fields, DJ Moore, Hill, Wilson, Dobbs, Lockett, Etienne, Sanders, Zeke, Smith. Do I accept a trade for Walker Curtis with Wilson and DJ Moore? I would probably rather go ahead and just take the best player here. I'm probably going to go with Kenneth Walker. Especially if we have Tyreek Hill at wide receiver as is. And then at running back too, we do have a massive question mark with Sanders. So Rom says, appreciate you always make. I have the hat already, but can never go wrong with more Flock merch. All right, my man. Well, shoot me that message on Discord. I'd be super happy to get you a shirt if we can, my man. And I will say, I think we only have smalls, larges, and mediums left. I believe we are out of XLs and double XLs. I was an idiot and clearly did not order enough. And now I know next time we order shirts to order significantly more XLs. Don't know why I thought that there would be literally a single soul watching this live stream that wears a small or a medium t-shirt. Like the dumbest thing that I've done a ton of dumb things over the years. And one of the dumbest things that I've ever done is order small and medium t-shirts to give away. And now I'm probably going to be stuck with these small and medium t-shirts for the next year, unless y'all want to give them to your kids. But real quick, let me skip ahead. We have a massive dono coming out from Allie, longtime member of the flock, says 12-team full BBR double flex. We have Allen, Diggs, Pittman, Nico, Wilson, Sutton, KJ, JSN, Barkley, Gibbs, Roshan, Herbert. Should I trade or chill? Trade 1, Connor, Pittman, or Wilson. Trade 2, he wants to get rid of Devonta. What should we offer? Okay. I would rather have the receivers over James Conner in a full PPR format, my friend. That is a double flex league. So we can start 4 wide receivers in a week-to-week perspective. I already know that we're loaded up at wide receiver. And clearly we do need some help at running back. But still, don't necessarily know if we should be making that move. And then if you were looking to trade for Devonta Smith, I would love to see if we could go out there and trade Jackson Smith and Jigba for Smith at this point. I mean, I've gone through and I've called JSN that buy low candidate over the past few weeks. Really do like JSN, but to be completely realistic, I don't necessarily know if this is someone that is guaranteed to continue this type of production whenever you do have DK Metcalf coming back in. So if we wanted to go out there, if we could cash out for like JSN to Devonta Smith, I'd look to do that as well. But thank you so much for everything, man. And I know you've been a long time member of the vlog as well. Please, if you have not done so already, if you don't have one already, please shoot me a message on Discord. Shoot me a message. Just primarily on Discord. That's where I'll for sure see it. I don't know if we'll see it on Twitter or Instagram, but shoot me a message on Discord. I'd love to get you shipped over a flock hat and a flock shirt, my friend. But let me close the store 1 sec. And Freddie, I did not ignore your super chat. We go in order. Felt like we should probably skip ahead to Ollie's. Was a $50 super chat. It was the biggest one we've gotten in a long, long time. And oh my God, my eye hurts so bad. Something's in it. This hurts. Oh my God, I want to cry. I took my contact out, thought it was going to help. Maybe my contact got torn in my eye. Oh God, this hurts. But yeah, we're going to go right back to where we were. And let me pull up those questions on the other screen 1 second. And also, we are about 5 likes away from 500 likes on this live stream. If you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, please go down there, drop a like on this stream. How almost at 500. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We have live streamed for almost 180 days in a row and not missing a day until 2024. And of course, if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. The usual Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard if you're new to Underdog Fantasy. But on top of that, because there's NBA tip-off as well, a LeBron James special pick'em, more than less than half a total point. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, because so many people used code FLOCK last week on Underdog, they're hooking everybody up that's used code FLOCK or uses code FLOCK with an Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard as well. So please make sure you take advantage. But let's move this over. And this next question coming out from Eduardo says, 12-team, half PPR, 3 and 4 super flex. We have Mahomes, Henry, Aaron Jones, Ridley, Hollywood. Oh, crap. We got moved. Let me find this again. I'm so sorry, my friend. Ridley, Hollywood, Sutton, Watson, Edwards. And then on the bench, Spears, Dobbs, Downs, Achane. Any moves? So I'd say with this team, I mean, we're struggling in the starting lineup, right? So if we're struggling in the starting lineup and we're 3 and 4 and we don't have much depth currently, I think that this is one of those teams that you honestly may not have an option but to go out there and sell Devon Achane and just get some production in the starting lineup right this second. Obviously, in a Superflex league, having Mahomes does give you a lot of flexibility, but at the same time, the Deshaun Watson injury is just putting us in a very compromising position. Okay. Now, Sebastian coming out saying 10-team PPR 3 and 4. Trade Jefferson, Laporta, Kirk for TJ and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jefferson to St. Brown on a 3 and 4 team. Give me St. Brown. Laporta and Kirk first. Hawkinson. Probably give me Hawkinson. When Jefferson comes back, I get Kirk back. Oh, hell yeah. Then we do this trade. That's actually a very interesting trade. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's make that move and let's get the production in here for right this second, my friend. Colin says 12-team full PPR 5 and 2, single flex. We have Herbert, Jacobs, Swift, Montgomery, Hubbard, Henderson, Keenan, Ayuk, Moore, Kirk, Jason, Kelsey, Laporta. What to do with Jacobs? No one wants to touch him with the 10-foot pole right now. 100%, which is why it's hard to go out there and say to sell Josh Jacobs, right? I mean, I'd love to try to tell you to do so, but in reality, I mean, it's just kind of too late. Full PPR format. He still has a role as a receiver as well. I mean, previously, I wasn't too concerned about what we had with Jacobs. Now, I am. But I would say more so my focus would be going out there and getting some value for Sam Laporta whenever we have Kelsey on this team already. Now, Chase says 12-team triple flex league, 7-0. We have Lawrence, Etienne, Kamara, Gibbs, Mostert, Puka, DK, Evans, Addison, Adams, Sutton, Hawkinson. Odd question. How do I keep my league around next year? Friends league, but all crying. If it is a dynasty league, actually your team won't be as good next year. So to be honest with you, I mean, obviously it's a good team. We are 7-0 for a reason, but it's not like the most preposterous team I've ever seen, right? I'm trying to think of some way that you could go out there and I don't know. Obviously, you don't want to go out there and make bad trades so they're more excited about playing with you, right? Does anybody have any tips on how you keep your league around next year? If it's a friends league, they're all crying because you're 7-0. Does anybody have any tips in the live chat? Please let me know. We're going to answer a question, and we're going to go to the live chat and see if we have anything from anybody. But Prohibit says, so hyped. Hawkinson and Moody got me 25 points yesterday. 5-2 with Jefferson waiting in the wings. Is Kincaid worth the number 2 waiver to be my backup? Very happy for you, my man. And yes, I would say Kincaid is worth the number 2 waiver wire pickup, even if he's going to be your backup. I just think that he can have so much value down the road considering the situation that he's in, the offense that he's in with the Dawson Knox injury. Okay. Globes to the Dome says, tell them to get better. Daniel says, let them cry, put more money down. Jonathan says, get new friends. Weekly monetary bonuses. This is fun. Like if you go through and I don't know what your league pot is, but say like it's $100 buy-in, and then every week having like the highest scoring team of the week get $25, and then the highest weekly score of the entire season get an additional 25. That is fun. That is fun, right? Okay. Now let's move this over. Debro says 10-team PBR 6-1. Want to trade Ramondre DK for a receiver. What caliber wide receiver can I realistically get? I would love to go get Jefferson if we're 6-1. If maybe somehow, some way we can pull it off. Probably not. I think in reality, you're going to have to trade for one of those guys that are exciting, but currently are maybe disappointed a little bit. Obviously, we'd go for Kupp if we could. In reality, I think we're going to be looking more so at like Lamb or Devontae Adams. Probit says, and does Ridley have any value? What is he going for? Ridley is like a player that you just simply cannot sell. Not because I love Calvin Ridley or anything, but just simply because you cannot sell him. Like nobody's going to give you anything. Jay says, I have Goddard, Kincaid. Do I trade Goddard for Pittman, Thielen, or Dak? My receivers are Lamb, Debo, Rice, and Downs. Also, who could I trade Gibbs for? I'm sorry, this is DK, not Dak. I'm an idiot. I think here with the Debo injury, I'm completely fine if you wanted to go out there and make that move. If you were selling Diggs, if you wanted to see if we could sell like Goddard and Diggs, I'm sorry, Goddard and Gibbs, I apologize, and go get to Kupp, go get to Adams, go get to Lamb, maybe you could look to do that. If not, I'd be fine selling Goddard for Adam Thielen at this point, specifically with that team where we have Kincaid as well. Now, Alfonso says, what's up, Mason? I'm 7-0 in a full BBR league. My starting lineup is Mahomes, CMC, JT, Keenan, DJ Moore, Hawkinson. The flex is Jacobs. And then on the bench, we have Kirk, Ayuk, Hunt, Robinson, Rashee Rice. Who should we be putting in the flex spot? So Jacobs has been very disappointing, right? But to be completely honest with you, I don't know if we're going to be able to get away from Josh Jacobs here in a full BBR format with the guaranteed workload. I mean, maybe it's a little less guaranteed than it was. Maybe we shouldn't be saying guaranteed as the word. But with the target volume that he's going to be getting, it's hard for me to get away from Jacobs in the flex. Like, if you wanted to start Brandon Ayuk over him, if you had no Deebo Samuel, that would be the move that I think you could look to go ahead and make, my friend. Nick says 10-team full BBR 3-2. Made lots of trades. We have Hurts, Hill, Chase, AJ Amari, Palmer, Tank, JT, Gibbs, Hall, Roshan, Connor, Pitts. Do you think we win it all? Love you, my friend. And 3-2, obviously we're on that path. We have arguably 3 top 5 wide receivers with Hill, Chase, AJ Brown. We have running backs with a crap. Yes, I think this is a team that honestly has a good shot to win it all. And once James Conner is back from his injury, I think we'd be looking to package together one of those running backs with Pitts to go get that upgrade at tight end. Now, Russell says 4-3, 10-team league. We have Hurts, JT, Kamara, Mixon, HN, Ramondre, Chuba, Pittman, Amari, Puka, Wilson, Rashee, Kelsey. What do we do to get a better receiver? So, I mean, here we're starting Pittman and Puka. We're just fine. We have Garrett Wilson down there as well. We have Amari for these upside shots. We have Rashee Rice for an upside shot. So, you're already doing exactly what I would want. We have the elite quarterback with Hurts, the elite tight end with Kelsey. We're prioritizing running backs and wide receivers down there on the bench with upside. If you really wanted to see if we could sell, say, like Ramondre Stevenson and Amari Cooper and go get a stud receiver, you can try. In reality, we're probably going to be waiting until we at least get Devon Achane back. Now, Alfonso says, one more question. Kyren Williams was dropped. Should we try to stash him? Yeah, I think if we're going back and looking at your team, like if you have, say, like Brian Robinson or Rashee Rice down there on the bench, I think that I would probably rather have Kyren Williams. Now, Shway coming out saying, traded Hunt and Wan'Dale for Tajee Spears, hoping for an Henry trade. Both were just bench pieces. Was it worth it? Wan'Dale, I drafted him in a lot of best ball leagues. I hope he does well, but he doesn't really have any value. Trading Hunt for Tajee Spears, it really is going to be up to you. Obviously, this is kind of like a binary outcome. If Derrick Henry's traded, you'll love it. Derrick Henry's not, you probably lose. Now, only Fiargro coming out saying, Hill for Eckler and Olave. We have Hill, Chase, Garrett Wilson with Ramondre, Deonta Foreman, and Devon Achane. So obviously this is a team that could use some help at running back. I would trade Chase for Eckler and Olave. I don't necessarily know if you would do Hill though. Like Hill's currently on pace for 2,000 receiving yards this season. Like you have CMC, Tyreek Hill at the very top of their respective positions. And then just a massive drop after that. A massive drop. But we are actually going to have to refresh this so we can keep bringing these questions up. And as I do this, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Let me see how many of y'all have done so. About 9%, better than it was previously. But yeah, go down there, hit that like button if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I'm going to live stream every single day until 2024. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting a 100% deposit match, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. The usual new customer offer of the Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. But on top of that, an additional LeBron James special pick'em, more than less than half a total points. And on top of that as well, an Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for the Monday night game. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that if you have not done so already. But let's swing this back around. Our next question coming out from Nino says, want to trade for Kyren. Guy who has him is 0-7. I'm 6-1. We have Lamar, Bijan, Kamara, Wilson, Sutton, Pittman, Amari, Kittle, Moss, Pitts, Russ, Spears, Hubbard. Love the vids. Thank you. I'm honestly not really going to be paying a ton for Kyren right now. You still have 3 weeks minimum that he's going to be gone. What I'm a little bit worried about is one of these running backs kind of playing themselves, not into the starting job, but playing themselves into a consistent role in this offense. So I'm fine with us going out there and lowballing this guy. He is 0-7. So if he has half a brain cell, he realizes he probably has to sell Kyren for something right now. And if you wanted to go and send him like, say, Russ and Pitts or Pitts and Moss, and go out there and get Kyren, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Obviously, the issue is like, I just don't love the Kyren Williams situation long-term. Now, Yaniv says, Tintin team 3-4. Fields, Stroud, Bijan, Hall, Foreman, Cup, Olave, Hollywood, Higgins, Osborne, Bourne, Pitts, and Thomas. What's the move? I think the primary thing that we need to be doing is just changing the construction of this team, where we are rostering 3 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers, while we have stud wide receivers at the very top. The only thing I would say is let's go ahead and let's try to move on from someone like Logan Thomas, try to move on from someone like Kendrick Bourne, and pick up a few running backs off waivers that look like they're an injury away from making a difference. Now, Archie says, 5-2 at BBR, trade Jacobs and Puka for Lamb and Montgomery. Puka to Lamb, give me Lamb, but it's close. Jacobs to Montgomery, give me Jacobs, but it's close. So I think it's a very fair deal. It's going to be up to you. Christian says 4-3 in second place, most points for. Saquon Ridley got back Kenneth Walker and Amari. Great move. Great move. We have St. Brown, Deontay, Downs, Montgomery, Brees, Achane, Warren. Good or no, or try to take both to get a top 5 receiver. No, I think we make this deal, then I think we sit on our hands because we are going to be kind of sitting here and waiting until we get back like David Montgomery and Devon Achane, right? Like the team really does need to just show some patience and get these guys back in. Fun Guy Chunks always adds to trade Pollard and Waddle for Jefferson and Jacobs. Probably Jefferson and Jacobs if you are a long-term build where you're like 5-2 currently. Now, Nicholas says, single flex, we have Brown, Diggs, Addison, Kirk, JSN, Walker, Cook, Ramondre, Pierce, Musgrave. Also, the Jets or Seattle defense. We're going to be going with the... We're going to go with Seattle if Watson misses. The Jets if not. Kincaid is by far and away the best option off waivers here. I'd be very aggressive in trying to get Dalton Kincaid off waivers. And then for our starting lineup, we're going to start A.J. Brown, Diggs, Walker, James Cook, and then for the flex spot, Jordan Addison. Zach says, thank you, man. You're the truly best there is. No, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my friend. Now, Gian or Zonko coming out saying 2 juicy offers for Diggs. I'd hate to part with him, but we could use the depth. Would you trade him for Pollard, Nico, Devonta Smith, or Adams, Walker, and Downs? If you are telling me that you are legitimately needing depth right now, I'd be completely fine if you wanted to trade Diggs for Devontae Adams and Kenneth Walker. And Josh Downs, of course. Downs is a viable move. Like, if this is a league where depth is important and we are dealing with a ton of injuries and we're having a hard time coming by it, I'm fine making the move. Daniel says 6-1 PBR. We have Hurts, CMC, Eckler, AJ Olave, and Njoku Taylor. Amari, Palmer, Jameson, Sanders. Warren, Ferguson. Should I make a move for Higgins, Hollywood, Metcalf, Nico, Lamb with the guys from the bench? If we could, I would. I don't think you're going to be able to get to Lamb. I mean, if you can sell Amari and Miles Sanders and go get to CeeDee Lamb, let's do it. Probably just not possible. I think instead the more realistic trade is us going through and like sending Joshua Palmer in a small piece and going and getting T. Higgins for long-term upside, right? I think that'd be a little more realistic. Now, Mercano says, should we give Montgomery, Puka, and Nico Collins for CMC? Oh, hell yeah. Let's go out there and let's get CMC. Like, there's no such thing in overpaying for CMC. Just an absolute no-brainer. Sam says, first place, 6-1. We have Hurts, Puka, Addison, Bijan, Foreman, Hogginson, DJ, Kirk, Higgins, JSN, Moss, Herbert, Miles Sanders. Any trade ideas? And who are we going with that RB2? I would love to upgrade out RB2 if we can. Especially when we have this kind of depth. We have Higgins coming back in. I would love to see if we can sell DJ Moore and Deonta Foreman and go get that long-term upgrade at running back. I mean, DJ Moore was that clear sell guy for us 2 weeks back after the Washington game. I would say now it's going to be much tougher to go out there and get that same price point with the Fields injury. But yeah, when you have this kind of wide receiver depth, it's a no-brainer if we can go out there and make that upgrade. And I love Foreman, of course, hook 'em horns. But if Roshan comes in and splits the backfield, it's going to be tough to rely on him. Okay. Now, Shot says, Hunt, Gus, Henderson off of waivers. I'm going to go probably with Kareem Hunt. At least if we were looking to start someone right now. Now, Jay says, 12-team PBR double flex. Got offered Layman Stevenson for Bijan and Godwin. What are your thoughts? Other running back is JT Chuba. Receivers are Adams, Ridley, Deontay, and Watson. Godwin to Stevenson, give me Stevenson. Bijan to Lamb, give me Bijan. I think Bijan is the best player in the deal. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I don't think our roster matters too much. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the best player in this trade. I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson. I don't really have too many concerns with him, to be honest. Drew says, Dynasty, would you trade Kupp for Garrett Wilson and Alexander Madison? Madison is just a throw-in. So it's essentially Kupp or Garrett Wilson in Dynasty. Or in the other league, we have Kupp for Puka and Pierce. I'd way, way rather go get Garrett Wilson. And yeah, I mean, if you're at this point willing to pack it in and play for 2024 and beyond, I think trading Kupp for Wilson is a completely fair deal. Adrian says and that's in a Dynasty league, ladies and gentlemen. Dynasty, where Kupp's 30 years old. Adrian says 5-2, 8-team at BBR. Traded Diggs and Herbert for Kelsey, Mostert, Thielen, Metcalf. We have Goff and Kyler on the IR. Diggs to Kelsey, up to you. Herbert to Mostert, Thielen, Metcalf. We would rather have Mostert, Thielen, Metcalf. So then we are going to go ahead. Yeah, we're going to take the Kelsey side, especially in an 8-team league where obviously having the elite level tight end really does make a difference. But I would love to turn around and see if we can sell DK Metcalf and Jared Goff for the best quarterback possible. Josh says non-BBR 5-2 is it wise to sell Puka, Javonte, Ridley for Bijan, Devonta Smith, and Myers? So Puka to Bijan, you can be Bijan by a mile, especially in a non-PBR league. Ridley to Devonta Smith, give me Devonta Smith. Javonte to Myers, give me Myers. I think it is a very wise move. Yeah, let's go out there and let's make that move. Afraid to sell Puka, but my other receivers are Chase, Olave, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, and the thing as well is, right, Puka's just worth less in a non-PPR league than he is in a full PPR league. So I do think that's an absolute no-brainer. Now, Gio says 12-team happy BRs start 2, sit 2 at the flex. Higgins, Stevenson, Downs, Michael Thomas. Also, would you do Higgins and Stevenson for Chris Olave? No, I think we hold on to Higgins and Stevenson, to be honest. Like, now is the worst time to be selling Higgins. And then for that flex spot, I'm going to be going with Higgins. Actually, no. We're going to go Stevenson. And then if you look at my wide receiver rankings this week, I have Higgins at 29 and Downs at 31. So I still think we go Higgins and Stevenson. Very close, though, to get Downs in. Not starting Michael Thomas. Burrett says, thank you so much. Enjoy the depth you go into. No, thank you so much for being a member of the flock. I really appreciate you. And Carlos says 14-team BBR 3-4. What can we do with Hurts, Gibbs, Spears, Adams, Downs, Jonnu, Pickens? The bench is Sanders, Lockett, Ford, Jeff Wilson. Should we trade and edit the lineup for the week? I think we'd start Sanders. No, I'm not going to do that. I would say yes, we are going to look to make a trade, specifically in a 14-team league where it's much tougher to come by running back and wide receiver production. I'm sure that you've heard me say over and over and over again in this live stream, let's go trade for the elite level quarterback. Let's go pay up for the elite level quarterback. Let's get the elite level QB. However, in a 14-team league, running back wide receiver will be a little bit harder to come by. The elite level quarterback will be more so a luxury rather than a necessity. So if you could sell Jalen Hurts and get back like Breece Hall and Trevor Lawrence in a 14-team format where we're having a hard time fielding the starting lineup right now, that would probably be a move that we look to do if we can. Now, Sky says 12-team PPR, double flex 7-0. We have Allen, Etienne, Swift, Diggs, Adams, Thomas, Evans, Kirk, Hunt, Downs, Kyler, Musgrave, Wandale, Jaleel. Any targets for tight end? First thing is, I'd love to see if we could cut Jaleel and go out, or cut Musgrave and go out and pick up Dalton Kincaid. If we could make that move, I think it'd make a lot of sense. And then also, if you're not going to be starting Kareem Hunt, I think that we probably should be looking to see if we can get some kind of value for him, right? Like if we could possibly package together, say, Kareem Hunt and Logan Thomas and go get to an Evan Ingram type player, I think that'd make a lot of sense because there are some teams that will really value Kareem Hunt and could get some production out of him where he's just not hitting our team, right? Hospital Mike says 12-team PBR 5-2. Traded Rashad White, Palmer, Ford, Mixon. What are your thoughts? I think if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I like it. Now, Umar says 3-4, injuries hurt me. We have Stroud, Kyler, Eckler, Jones, Sanders, Jefferson, Kupp, Ayuk, Higgins, Palmer, Jason, Dell, Laporta. Any trades or hold and be patient? I think that we're going to hold and be patient. Obviously, it sucked having to deal with the Eckler injury. It sucked having to deal with the Cup injury. Now it sucks having to deal with the Jefferson injury. But now that we have two of these guys back in, I think that we should be much, much better going forward. Typically on a team with a losing record, especially if you're like 2-5, I would say let's go ahead and let's see what we could get for Jefferson because we can't continue to lose. But I would say that we probably want to be holding on to Jefferson here and just being a little bit more patient. Just because we have a great starting lineup as is. Now, Jeff coming out saying 2-5, 10-team full PPR. We have Tua, Prescott, Walker, Jones, Moss, Wilson, Lamb, Adams, London, Palmer, Jason, Thomas, Andrews. Jefferson, Connor on the IR. Wait on Jefferson or Connor and make a move. This is that example of a team where, honestly, we probably need to go out there and make a move right now to make sure that we don't lose any more games. Like if you could sell Jefferson for A.J. Brown, if you could sell Jefferson for Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Now, Jordan says 10-team PBR, 3 receivers, 1 flex, 5-2. We have Mahomes, Walker, Madison, Tyreek, Puka, Olave, Debo, Ferguson. And then on the bench, Spears, Algier, Gainwell, Pierce, Rice. Any moves from here? We have the elite quarterback, the elite wide receiver, the elite running back. Really, the only questionable thing that we have is tight end. I would say if we could take, say, Rashee Rice and sell him with Ferguson to go get Evan Ingram, let's do it. In reality, I really like what we're doing here. I mean, right? We're going through and not necessarily worrying too much about depth. And the depth that we do have on the bench are guys that are like an injury away from making a big difference. Ethan says, happy BR 4-3. We have Fields, St. Brown, Diggs, Metcalf, Godwin, Mostert, Foreman, Connor, Spears, Wandale. Should I trade Metcalf for Tua and Chuba, or should we wait until we get Fields? I am fine making this move if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, just because I'm viewing Metcalf as like a low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 in fantasy, which is what he's been over the past 3 years. So I honestly think that we probably would if we can. Jacob says, have Andrews on bye. We're going to go with on week 13, Schultz or Kincaid. We're going to be going with Kincaid. Ethan says it's a 3 wide receiver league. 3 wide receiver league. Actually, we're going to be much less inclined to go out there and sell DK Metcalf. We'd rather wait for Fields. Preston says, do we trade Hurts, A.J. Brown, Ridley for Herbert, Puka, Pacheco, Garrett Wilson? Hurts to Herbert, big time downgrade. A.J. Brown to Puka, big time downgrade. Ridley to Garrett Wilson, slight upgrade. We're getting Pacheco. No, I think we keep the best players in the deal. I think we're going to keep Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Carson says 18 PBR double flex, 5-2. We have Lamar, Stevenson, Jacobs, Hill, A.J. Brown, Hawkinson, Lamb, Thielen, Madison, Addison, Zay, London, Ford, Jeff Wilson. Any moves? Try for Jefferson or Taylor. I think it makes so much sense for this team to try for Jefferson or Taylor. I would trade, CD Lamb here in a package with Jordan Addison to see if we can go get Justin Jefferson here with this being an 8-team league. If you wanted to go try to make a play for Jonathan Taylor, maybe we can try to send like Adam Thielen and Ramondre Stevenson for JT. But with that being said, obviously in that double flex league, even if it is an 8-team format, it's not like we can keep on making 2-for-1 deals, then 2-for-1 deals, then 2-for-1 deals over and over and over again. Kind of have to pick your spots, right? Cogent, always happy to see us, says 10 TPBR 4-3. We have Hurts, Bijan, Pollard, Kyron, Adams, Andrews, Ridley, Watson, Tajee, London, JSN, Madison. Would you trade Pollard, Ridley, Pitts for a Hall and Puka? Pollard to Hall will be a clear downgrade. Going from Ridley and Pitts to Puka, it's an upgrade, but we don't have another viable tight ends. I think I would trade Pollard and Ridley. I would trade Ridley and Pitts for Puka. But if it means at the same time that we have to go through and downgrade from Pollard to Breece, my friend, I'm probably not going to be doing that. Probably want to be keeping the best player in the deal, which is Pollard in my mind. Especially if you look at Tony Pollard. Is this a running back that, just has had such a safe workload so far this season, where I didn't really draft him at all, but honestly, I think the touchdown rate is actually going to come up a bit. And I think Pollard will be even much better going forward than what he has been so far this season. Okay. But let's move this over to now, Jaylene coming out saying, 10 team, happy BR 4-3. We have Hurts, Bijan, JT, Ramadre, Achan, AJ Brown, Adams, Chase, Waddle, Higgins. Tired of Bijan and Adams' inconsistency. Bijan's going to be fine. He had a headache, my friend. He had a headache. He's going to be okay. Trade Hurts, Bijan, Adams for Burrow, ETN, Diggs. Hurts to Burrow, big time downgrade. Bijan to ETN, downgrade. Adams to Diggs, big time upgrade. I personally am not going to be doing this. I personally am going to be looking to hold on to Bijan Robinson. It is a fine price point if you did want to get out of him, though. It's a better deal than I'd imagine that you were going to get. Happy says, start 3, full BBR. Smith, Addison, Olave, and DJ Moore. We're going to be going with Addison, DJ Moore, and then between Smith and Olave, probably Smith, just given the fact he does have a great matchup against Washington. And Quinn says, 12-team at BBR just traded Pierce, Kyron, Kittle, Higgins for Eckler, Olave, Moss, and Kincaid. What are your thoughts? I would almost rather have Eckler than the entire side that you gave up, my friend. I think you crushed this deal. You crushed it. Adrian says, 8-team happy BR league. Got offered Adams for Mixon and JSN. What are your thoughts? JSN not really going to make a big difference in an 8-team league. I think it's up to you. It really is up to you there. Freddie says, 12-team happy BR. We have Tyreek, Andrews, Waddle, Walker. Instead of Walker, I can get Bijan. Wide receivers are Kirk, Evans, Higgins, Watson. So if we can sell Tyreek for Andrews, Waddle, and Bijan Robinson, very rarely would I ever go out there and say to sell Tyreek Hill. 99.999% of the time, you want to hold on to Tyreek. That is a very compelling price. Very compelling price. Gage says 5-2, 12-team BBR sent Michael Thomas Hopkins for Olave. Good move. Great move. Team is Hurts, CMC, Kamara, Keenan, Waddle, Olave, Ingram. With zero depth outside of Josh Downs, Algier, who do we start or who do I sit? We're going to be starting CMC, Kamara, running back. Wide receiver, we're going to go Keenan and Waddle. And then for the flex, we're going to be going with Chris Olave, and you're going to be benching Josh Downs and Tyler Algier. CK Coaster says, full BBR, would you trade Kenneth Walker and Brandon Ayuk for Eckler and Amari Cooper? Full BBR gives Eckler a bump. I would rather have Eckler over Walker. Ayuk to Amari, give me Ayuk with the Watson injury. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and do this. I think we can. David says, what do you think about this trade? My Brees, Downs, and Lamb for Kupp, Olave, Higgins, and Judy. Kupp versus Lamb. Give me Kupp. Olave versus Downs. Give me Olave. Higgins and Judy versus Brees. Give me Brees. I think Kupp's the best player in the deal. I think if you are loaded up at running back, I'm fine going out there and making that play for Cooper Kupp. Now, Bodie says 10-team, full BBR, double flex. Traded Foreman Hopkins for Debo and traded Brian Robinson for Mixon. Oh, great Mixon deal. Great trade both ends. We now have Debo, Amon-Ra, Olave, Rice, Deontay, Barkley, Eckler, Mixon. I think it's a great team. I'm assuming that we don't have the best record, though, dealing with the Eckler and Barkley injuries earlier on, but I think it should be a very good team going forward. Ryan says 12-team at BBR, send Brian Robinson, Josh Downs for a Hunt and Chris Godwin. Give me Godwin over Downs and give me, honestly, very fair deal, and it is up to your personal preference. Probably want Brian Robinson over Hunt rest of season, but it's not like Brian Robinson is too exciting right now. I mean, this is someone that is seeing his work his job kind of disappear. But we're going to have to refresh this so we can keep bringing these questions up, and give me 1 second to do so. And as I do, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Looks like about 8% of y'all have hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I mean, we're going to live stream every single day until 2024. We have not missed a day since April. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you are going to be getting a 100% deposit match, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be getting the usual Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. That's if you're new. But a site-wide special pick'em on Underdog for NBA tip-off. LeBron James, more than less than half a total points. And since so many of y'all signed up to Underdog last week with code FLOCK, also an Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. That's Flock users exclusively. Super happy I'm able to get y'all that, so please make sure you are taking advantage. But our next question coming out from Globes to the Dome, who says 10-team PPR, 3-4, traded Ridley. I'm sorry, trying to fix this real quick. Traded Ridley and Brian Robinson for Lamb and White. Oh, great move. I mean, Brian Robinson, losing his job at this point. I'd rather have White. Ridley versus Lamb. Give me Lamb by a mile. Traded Puka for Pacheco. Now I have Mahomes, Pacheco, Mixon, White, Gibbs, Warren, Kupp, Lamb, London, Godwin, Laporta. Help with the lineup this week and any moves. I would say that I think that the Puka trade, not great, not the worst thing, but we had the running back depth. We didn't need to make it if we didn't want to. Now we are going to go through, we're going to be starting Mixon and Pacheco at running back. You can make a strong argument for, actually you can make a strong argument for Gibbs if you really wanted. As under the assumption that you have no David Montgomery, if you really wanted to get Gibbs in here, you can over Mixon because Mixon has the tough matchup against San Fran. I do think it's going to be up to you between those two players. And then wide receiver, we're going to start Kupp and Lamb. For the flex spot, we will end up going with Jahmyr Gibbs anyway. So yeah, we're going to start all three of those running backs. And then from this point, I don't necessarily think that there are too many moves that you'd want to make. I mean, if we ever got the opportunity where we could trade for Kelsey to stack with Mahomes, that'd be phenomenal. But obviously, I mean, it's not happening right now. Not happening right now. Now, Ryan says 7-0 PBR, 2-0 Waddle Walker for Goff, Amon-Ra, Eckler. We have Tyreek. Give me Eckler over Walker. Give me Amon-Ra over Waddle. Give me 2 over Goff. So we're downgrading at quarterback to upgrade the other two spots. I would probably still do it. Give me Eckler there. Boris says, I think I have the sexiest 2-5 team. Just traded Javonte Ridley for Puka. That is a big win, my man. 10-team league. We have Lawrence, Etienne, Swift, Sanders, Madison, Ford, Adams, Lamb, Puka, Collins, Ingram. What do we do? Very few options that we have. What I would say is if you could sell Jerome Ford with anybody in the starting lineup and get any upgrade whatsoever, even if we are selling Jerome Ford for pennies on the dollar, I think that makes sense. But if you could sell Ford and like Lawrence and go get Burrow, I think we look to do it because ultimately at the end of the day, can't be excited about Jerome Ford's long-term upside on a 2-4 team where we need points right now. Now, Wise says 10-team PBR redraft. We have Burrow, Eckler, Mixon, Chase, Smith, Kelsey, Ridley. Do I trade Kelsey and Mixon for A.J. Brown and Etienne? I can get Kincaid off of waivers. If you can get Kincaid off the waiver wire, then yes, I'm fine with this. Because I clearly would rather have Etienne over Mixon. And Kelsey and A.J. Brown, I think that is going to be up to you there. Now, Josh says trade Debo for Ridley straight up. I'd probably rather have Debo. Now, Chase says, should I pick up Bourne for rest of season to replace Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Moore, or Zay Jones? I would rather have Bourne over Zay Jones at this point. No real excitement for Zay. Now, Isaiah says, can I trade Henry and Ridley for Jordan Addison? I would rather have Derrick Henry and Calvin Ridley over Addison, my friend. If it's Dynasty, then for sure go get Addison. but assuming it's just a 2023 league. Rob says 5-2, full BBR Superflex. Mix in Brees, Javonte, Achane. Cut Warren or Roschon for Spears. We'd cut Roschon before Warren. Fields, Lamar. Cutting Pickett for Kyler. Great move. Zay, DJ Moore, Puka, Olave. Cut London for Downs or JSN. Yes, I would rather have JSN over London rest of season. I think JSN has more upside. Think good long-term without losing all my depth. Yeah, I think that here at the bottom end of the team, I am always just thinking for upside, upside, upside. So yeah, let's cut Roschon for Spears with the possibility of a Henry trade. And let's cut London for JSN for the upside. Now, Yaniv says 10-team full BBR double flags, 3 and 4. We have Fields, CJ, Bijan, Hall, Foreman, Cup, Olave, Hollywood, Higgins, Osborne, Bourne, Pitts, and Thomas. What is the move? Very well-balanced team. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily see anything. If it was a single flex league, I'd want to go out there and upgrade quarterback. However, in a double flex league, we're actually probably going to be sitting still here. So honestly, I know it's year 3 and 4, and it's a little bit frustrating. I don't want to act like the players are absurdly talented and we are just in the best spot imaginable. But to be fair, we are pretty damn comfortable with the roster construction, which is the most important thing. Now, Michael says 3 and 4. We have Eckler, Smith, and scared of output. What kind of trade should we do? And does it feel right? You're completely fine with Eckler. I would say that honestly, you want to be very patient with these guys here in a full BBR format. If you wanted to sell Devonta Smith, I'm going to be fine with you doing so. But you're going to have to honestly, at least in my minds, I think you're going to have to wait a little bit of time. I think you're going to have to wait until at least after this week. Smith should be in a great spot going up against Washington. Now, Vincent coming out says 2 and 5, 12-team Happy BR. Burrow, Ayuk, Ridley, CMC, ETN, JT. And then on the bench, we have Downs, Michael Thomas, Singletary, Dell, Minshew. Do I trust Burrow to win me this week? Good offer, JT for Lamar. Also, should we start Ridley or Downs? We need this win. If you look at my rankings this week, my friend, I have Ridley and Downs literally neck and neck. I have Downs at 31. I have Ridley at 35 in our wide receiver rankings. Damn, we're low on Ridley. Honestly, it's probably going to come back to bite us. Can y'all spam the chat? Who would you rather have this week? Are you going to go Ridley against Pittsburgh or Downs versus New Orleans? And yes, I think you trust. Wait, okay. Do we have Lamar or do we have JT? No, we're not going to trade JT for Lamar if we have Burrow. It is a tough matchup for Burrow going up against San Fran, but I don't think you can trade JT there. Okay, Ridley, Downs, Ridley, Downs. So it does look like most people are going to go with Downs. I mean, Ridley over Downs at this point. I have Downs higher in my rankings, but they're in the same tier, so I do think it's up to you. Now, Matt coming out saying 10-team BBR double flex. We have Diggs, Pollard, Montgomery, Smith, Puka, Addison. Good offered Aaron Jones and Olave for Puka and Joshua Palmer. What are your thoughts? If you really needed those two starters, I'm fine with you making the play. I do think that you are giving up the best player with Puka, though. So it really does come down to, do you feel like you need the depth and we're not going to be able to solve it off waivers? Ernest says, should we trade London for Ridley? Yes, I would. I really have no faith in the Atlanta Falcons passing offense. Doug Fan coming out saying 12-team PBR single flex. Lawrence, Hill, Chase, James Cook, Pollard, Goddard, Pierce, Jameson, Geno, Kyler, Pitts. 3 empty bench spots, Akers, Singletary, Bourne, Elijah, Rice, which 3? We're going to be chasing the highest ceiling possible. So then we're going to be going Rice, Akers, in the between Singletary, Bourne, Elijah Moore. I think Kendrick Bourne gives you the highest floor. I think Singletary possibly gives you the highest ceiling. Actually, I don't even want to say it. Just go get Kendrick Bourne. Get the guy producing right now. Now, Jonathan says, 10 team, happy BR, 6-1. We have Allen, Bijan, JT, Diggs, Ridley, Andrews, Nico in the flex. Laporta, Spears, Judy, Javonte. I love this team. Phenomenal squad. I would say if you could send Laporta and Nico Collins and get a straight up elite level wide receiver for that flex spot, I think that would make a lot of sense with this team, my friend. Jacob says the Chiefs or the Jets defense this week. I'm going to go with the Jets defense, even if the Chiefs are in a better matchup. The reason being is because the Jets will be more appealing in the long term at the same time. Mikey says, 4th QB, Richardson, Fields, Watson, Dak. Traded Hopkins for Kyler. Is this a win? Yeah, I mean, the issue is like, what are we doing now? Probably not, because by the time Kyler comes back, Fields going to be good to go, you know? So I don't know. Now, how many quarterbacks are we actually going to be having a roster? Now, Kawiki says 10 TPBR traded Lamb for Pollard, then also traded Kirk and Stevenson for Amon-Ra St. Brown. How are we feeling? Great move for Pollard and great move for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hell yeah. I think honestly it makes a lot of sense on both fronts, especially if you put them together. John says, love the channel, Mason. Thank you, my man. 16 team PBR. Looking to maybe sell out Addison. We need an RB1 who already had their bye. Are we going to go Pollard or anyone else? If you could get Pollard, that would be phenomenal. However, I would assume that's not going to be the case. I'd assume the Pollard owner is not going to accept that. Here are the running backs that I'd sell Addison for that have already had their bye week. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these are going to be rejects. You only need one to say yes. Pollard, probably get rejected. Eckler, definitely get rejected. Hall, probably get rejected. Walker, probably get rejected. And then after that, once you begin to get a little more desperate, you would get down to like the Mixon range. I think that honestly, those stud running backs, though, even if Addison looked great this past week, I think you are going to have a hard time getting. I think you're more so going to be looking at like Joe Mixon. Now, Angel says Herbert and Zay for CMC. Oh, CMC not close. Also, pick 2 for the rest of the season. We have Logan Thomas, Taysom Hill, Michael Mayer just went on the waiver wire. If it's a full PPR format, we're going to be going with Logan Thomas, Michael Mayer. Non-PPR league, you can sneak in Taysom. But Green Blocker coming out says, thanks for the roster advice. My undefeated team. I upgraded at running back, traded London Madison for Swift. Hell yes, my man. Really appreciate you being a long-time member of the flock, and congrats on a phenomenal move. Now, Matt says, get offered Adams for Puka. What should you do? I have Adams, I believe, 2 spots ahead of Puka in my rest of season rankings, but they are damn close. Can everybody spam the chat? Where are you going here? Are you going Adams or Puka half PPR league rest of season? Obviously, Puka has been significantly better up until this point. But rest of this season, are you going to go Puka or Adams? Please spam the chat. We got 1 vote for Adams, 1 vote for Puka. Puka, Puka, Adams, Adams, Adams. Puka, 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 Adams, 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 Puka, Puka, Puka. It does look like it's kind of split right down the middle, 50-50. I'm going to go Devontae Adams, but it's damn close. Now, Mason coming out saying 10-team PPR 2 and 5. Fields, Stafford, Jacobs, JT, Kyron, Najee, Tyreek, Kupp, Smith, Bourne, Rice, Ingram. Any moves? Definitely panicking on Jacobs. I think you should be nervous about Jacobs. In reality, can we sell him? No, you're not really going to get enough. So instead, I think what we're probably going to look to do is if we could go through and if we could look to potentially move off of Kyron Williams, I think that's what we're going to look for. Like if we could package together maybe Kyron Williams and Jacobs, if you wanted to make that move and go get an upgraded running back for right now, that's going to be something we look to do. But I think you kind of have to sell Kyron if you are 2 and 5 and we need to focus in on points right now. Clutchbox says, should we trade Gibbs and Sutton for JSN and Jacobs? Yes, I'd rather have JSN and Jacobs over Gibbs and Sutton. Obviously, if this is a redraft league, Dynasty would be different. Now, Carlton says 12-team standard, Wilson, Drake, Higgins, Watson, Deontay Downs, Pollard, Kyron, Brian Robinson, Foreman, Chuba. Also, Roschon off of waivers. If you wanted to get Roschon off the waiver wire, who are you going to cut? Are you going to cut Chuba? So that would be the move that you would make. I mean, ultimately, what I would love to do with this team is I would love to get an upgrade at quarterback. If you could sell Deonta Foreman and Russ, or Kyron Williams and Russell Wilson, and go get that upgrade at QB, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Probably ultimately need to sell Kyron just because this team doesn't really have any depth. I'm sorry. Let me go pee 1 second. All right, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But our next question coming out from, I believe, David, who says, who should we start at running back to, Najee, Moss, or Pierce? Ugh. Probably Najee. It is very gross, though. Chief says, should I trade Diggs for Derrick Henry? We have Palmer, Debo, Thielen. Running backs, we have Brian Robinson, Hunt, and Aaron Jones. Hell no. I 100% agree. We probably need some help at running back. But at the same time, Stephon Diggs is just tiers ahead of Derrick Henry at this point. Burner account says, Hurts, Roschon for Goff, Montgomery. Is this an okay deal? No, I would much prefer Jalen Hurts here, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not even in a non-PPR league, because obviously non-PPR format, we are a little bit more inclined to go out there and build around the elite level QB. Tyler says, what's up, Mason? Should we trade Keenan for Pollard? We have Bijan and Hall at running back. We have Tyreek, Smith, Collins at receiver. I think it is a very fair deal, and it's going to be up to you. Both players already through their bye weeks. Both players have insane level workloads overall. If you look at my rest of season rankings, I believe I have them damn near back to back. And yeah, we're well balanced at receiver and running back. So honestly, I do think it's going to be up to your team. If it's like a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, we probably get the running back. Okay. Now, Gotti says, happy BR. We have Lamar, Moore, Higgins, Jacobs, Pacheco, Ferguson, Flowers, Downs, Chuba, Spears, Kyler. Should we trade Lamar, Higgins, Zay for Keenan and Jamar, and any other recommendations? Higgins and Zay to Keenan Allen. Give me Keenan Allen, not close. Lamar to Jamar Chase. Give me Jamar Chase, and it's not close. So yes, give me Keenan and Chase. And then at that point, really the only thing that we need to do is stream the quarterback position over the next few weeks. So go to the waiver wire. No teams are on bye this week, so you should be in a fine spot to pick up a QB. And then we just have to kind of stay alive until we get Kyler Murray back. Now, Simon says 10-team PBR, 4-3, single flex. We have Mostert, Gibbs, Madison, Warren, Charbonnet, Diggs, Puka, Ridley, Addison, Rice. Getting JSN on waivers. So we trade Puka for Austin Eckler. Hell yes, we trade Puka for Austin Eckler. Coming from someone who has like no Austin Eckler, but still, I mean, you have no Mike Williams in this offense. I know it didn't happen this week. I do think you have a safe amount of target volume on a week-to-week perspective. Lunar says Saquon and Puka for Tyreek Hill. Ooh. Honestly, I think that's a fair deal, and it's up to you. I think that's a fair deal, and that's up to you. Now, King Rube's coming out saying, non-BBR, which team are you taking? Team A with Herbert, Bijan, Pollard, Brees, Adams, Puka, Laporta. Probably Team A. I haven't even seen Team B. Phenomenal team built around running backs in a non-PBR league. Or Team B, Stroud/Lawrence, Walker, HN, Tyreek, Kupp, Amon-Ra, Musgrave. Ooh, very interesting. Team B is great as well. I would say full BBR, give me Team B for sure. Non-PPR format's going to be a little bit tougher. If Devon Achane comes back in and is a top 10 running back rest of season, it's Team B. It really does depend on what you're going to get from Devon Achane, though. Okay. Now, Jakim is our next question. It's a Dynasty 1 quarterback league. Let me refresh this and we'll keep on bringing them up. And as I do this, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We are closing in on 700 likes on this stream. We've been live for 2.5 hours. Dear God, I would have never guessed that we had been live that long. I would have honestly guessed that we would have been live for maybe an hour and a half. Okay, but anyway, going back to this. This is a Dynasty 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, double flex. So a very shallow Dynasty league. Got Breece, Taylor, Etienne, Wilson, JSN, Kincaid, Shaheed. Just traded 3 firsts for Achane and a first for Hollywood. It's horrible. Horrible. First round picks in your Dynasty league going to be worth a little bit less, but ultimately, you lost all flexibility and you are valuing first round picks way too low here, my friend. I would be a buyer of first round picks all day here if this is the price. Especially when you add Breece, Taylor, Etienne, because I know you're already asking, like, how long do I hold on to these running backs? I don't know, my man. I see your next question asking how long we hold on to them. I think it would have just been much better to keep 3 first-round picks over Devon Achane and then not have to deal with the, like, overabundance there. Why says Mason looks... Okay, if I look weird, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure a lot of people saw me earlier in the live stream crying because my contact was bothering me too much. And I had to take my contact out of my eye. So right now, I am blind with this eye. I can see with this one. So we're going to be like squinting this eye and looking out this one as we go through the stream. So our next question coming out from Amos, who says, 12-team PPR, 2 and 5. We have Burrow, JT, Mixon, Kupp, DJ, Addison, Ridley, Moss, JSN. What should we do to make a play of any trades? And should I start Kincaid as well? I would love to get Kincaid if we can start him. I mean, I don't see a tight end here with this team. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think we can start Kincaid immediately. And then if we're looking to making moves to make the playoffs, if you could sell like the long-term upside of Jackson Smith and Jigba in a package, maybe like DJ Moore to go get a stud wide receiver for right now, that would be interesting. And it's coming from someone who's had JSN as a buy low candidate over the past few weeks now. Now, Rising Storm says 10 TBBR triple flex, 4 and 3. We have Cousins, Jacobs, Cook, Tyreek, Olave, Waller, Higgins, Jones, Pittman, Godwin on the bench. Is Cook and Pittman / Godwin for Hull reasonable? Triple flex league, I would say that selling 2 pieces for 1 is going to be much harder to do. For that reason, I don't necessarily know if we would love selling Cook and Pittman. If we could sell Cook and Godwin for Breece Hall, I think that would make a lot of sense. But triple flex league is a little tougher. Now, burner account says, Hurts for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Is this a fair deal? I'd personally rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown there. Cashman says, sent Kyler, Foreman, Downs for T. We have Herbert in a 12-team league. Good move if it's a shallow bench. But we can actually swing this to the other screen real quick. Let me do that. Reed coming out saying 2 and 5, 10-team PPR. We have Burrow, Lamb, Addison, Gibbs, Ford, Sanders, Kelsey, Pickens, Deontay, Osborne, Javonte, Dobbs, Stroud. Should we trade Kelsey, Sanders, Stroud for Etienne and Amon-Ra? So Kelsey to Amon-Ra, slight downgrade. Sanders and Stroud for Etienne, massive upgrade. So honestly, 9 times out of 10, I don't want to sell Kelsey, but at this price point, yeah, I think we can. Cameron says 14-team Dynasty Superflex tight end premium. Trade Puka, James Cook, and a second for Justin Herbert. Oh, hell yeah. In a 14-team Dynasty Superflex League where quarterback production's damn near impossible to come by, that's a no-brainer deal, my man. Honestly, good team in a 14-team league. I don't even care about the roster, though. I mean, obviously, Herbert's that cornerstone asset where we can build around for the short term and the long term. Vic says was offered Jacobs and Mixon for CMC. I'm going to go CMC even in a non-PPR league. Other running backs are Foreman, Aaron Jones. Was offered Adams and Jacobs for CMC. Yeah, we're going to want to keep Christian McCaffrey here, my friend. If we are selling CMC, it needs to be like the absolute no-brainer deal where they're giving up like Tyreek Hill and Josh Jacobs, right? Not Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs. Keep CMC. Samuel says, Mason, my man, 8-team league, got offered Jacobs and Ayuk for Austin Eckler. Also, Pollard and Watson for Eckler. Should we do either or just hold on to Eckler? 8-team league, we're just going to be holding on to Eckler because ultimately the wide receiver depth is just not going to matter at all in this 8-team league. And yeah, I think Eckler's still a top 5 RB rest of season. Cole says, should we trade Puka, Hollywood, and White for Jefferson and Montgomery? 4-3, 10-team league. I would say 4-3, not necessarily a spot where we're guaranteed to be locked into the playoffs, so don't love trading for Jefferson and Montgomery. But honestly, at this price point, yeah, we probably have to do it. Idri Quiz says, do we accept Pollard for Chase? I'd rather have Chase. I would get Chase, then yes. 12-team PPR league where we have Burrow, especially if we're going to make that one concentrated bet with Burrow and Chase. We have Burrow, Pollard, Bijan, Ayuk, Smith, Rice, Ferguson, Spears, JSN, London, Gibbs, and any other moves if we do/don't accept that. No, I think we just go ahead, make that deal, make that one concentrated bet. And then at that point, obviously, we're focusing on bringing in running back depth. But we do have Jahmyr Gibbs that we can go through and start in place of Pollard. Now, Kawaki says 1-6, 12-team PBR double flex, 7 bench. We have Burrow, Kamara, Saquon, Olave, McLaurin, Gibbs, Watson, and then on the bench, Elijah, Zay, JSN, Osborne, Henderson, Ford, Zeke. I want to upgrade at receiver. What can we get? So typically, I agree. I think that we should go get that upgrade at receiver. But the issue is typically when we're going through and getting that upgrade in the starting lineup, how do we do that? We have to take a bench piece and we need to go sell them with our wide receiver 3, maybe to go get a wide receiver 2, right? Like that's the typical trade that we need to make. Where if we go down to the bench here and try to figure out what we can do, we have Elijah Moore, Zay Jones. I'm sorry, we have, Elijah Moore, Zay Jones, JSN, Osborne, Henderson, Ford, Zeke. We don't really have much value. I would say if we could go through, if we could send Jerome Ford and Christian Watson in a package with Ford maybe having some long-term upside for someone that's maybe not 1-6 and literally just get any upgrade whatsoever, we do it. If you could send Jackson Smith and Jigba and Terry McLaurin and go get an upgrade at wide receiver and just essentially look to sell those pieces down there on the bench that have maybe some long-term upside, but not much in the short term, that's what we'd be looking to do. The issue is we just don't have a clear piece on the bench that people would be excited about trading for. Daniel says, are Metcalf or Hollywood legit viable wide receivers? I like the playoff schedule for both. It depends what you mean by viable. Can they be low-end wide receiver 2s? Yes. Can they be wide receiver 1s? Probably not. Like if you look at DK Metcalf was not a top 24 wide receiver last year. He was not a top 24 wide receiver the year before. And right now he's the wide receiver like 23 from a points per game perspective. So barely holding on as JSN's breaking out. Joe says, have BBR 12-team league, 6-1. Got offered Chase and Achane for Puka, Laporta, Swift. Puka to Chase, massive upgrade. Say Swift and Puka versus Chase, up to you. Laporta versus Achane, kind of up to you as well. We have Kincaid. Okay, so if we have Kincaid, we're excited at tight end long term. If this is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league where the depth doesn't matter as much, I am fine with this. I think, honestly, I just go get the best player. I just go get Chase. But Puka's been so damn good as late. Like, Puka has more points per game than Chase this year. Mark says, 5-2, 10-team PBR single flex. Pacheco, Addison for Jefferson and Hall. Oh, hell yeah, my man. I mean, if you're 5-2, let's go get Jefferson and Hall, and it's not even remotely close. Love to see it. Sleep deprived, always happy to see you. And Oh my gosh. Have we been saying amateur this entire time? Sleep deprived animator. Maybe I've just been saying that in my mind or saying it out loud and embarrassing myself in front of everybody, but saying, sup Mason, should I get JSN or Downs off the waiver wire? I'm going to go JSN over Downs off waivers. Going after Foreman instead of Henderson, dropping Roschon for Foreman, and then start Foreman or James Cook week 8. We're going to be going James Cook because we don't necessarily know the situation of what we're going to have with Roschon Johnson. James Cook is now seeing the majority of this work in this backfield. We don't have to worry about it being a 3-man running back by committee with no Damian Harris. So yeah, I think we're going to go ahead. I think we're going to play James Cook. And then yeah, I would prioritize JSN off waivers here. Baby Cow says, have BBR trade Puka or Walker for Bijan? I'll trade either guy for Bijan. I'd rather sell Puka though. Shrez says 10 team, have BBR, 2 receivers and a single flex. 6-1. We have Tua, CMC, Foreman, Lamb, St. Brown, Kupp, Kelsey. Then Thielen, Cousins, Kittle, Puka, Moss. Traded Thielen for Connor. What are your thoughts? I like the idea of going out there and selling some short-term production for long-term upside on a 6-1 roster. I don't love the price point we got, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. And then obviously Cousins has been absolutely crushing it. If you wanted to go out there and see what kind of value we could get for Kirk Cousins right now, wouldn't it fault you at all if we have 2 that we can start every week? I would just way rather like pivot over and try to go get like Jefferson, you know, just pay a higher price. I would rather send like Lamb for Jefferson, you know. Now, Demanius Sweener says, me, Saquon, Lamar, Addison. To Mahomes, Jacobs, Olave. Lamar to Mahomes, give me Mahomes. Saquon, Jacobs, give me Saquon. Addison, Olave, up to you. I'm probably going to, if it's a 6-point passing touchdown format, probably going to go Mahomes. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, probably going to go Lamar. Thomas says 10 team, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. 4 straight wins. Congrats, my friend. St. Brown, Waddle, Watson, Dell, Walker, Jones, Kyron, Henderson, Spears, Foreman, Ingram. Are we going to be going with Kincaid or Bourne off waivers? I really do like Evan Ingram. He's been consistent and he's looked great as of late. But with that being said, I do think that you have more upside with Dalton Kincaid. And I think Kincaid is the guy that we would be going with. And then Kincaid's not going to be flexible, my friend, but I mean, Kincaid could eventually, by the time we get to the end of the year, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's a possibility. He eventually goes out there and he could leapfrog Evan Ingram, to be honest with you. I just never want to be starting a tight end in the flex. And then Mark says 12-team BBR. Should we trade away Kelsey for Adams, Diggs, or St. Brown? Or try Goddard for McLaurin, Moore, or Jacoby Myers? We're not going to trade away Kelsey for Adams. If we were going to make that first deal, it's Kelsey for Diggs. And if we're going to do the second one, we'd be selling Goddard for Moore or Myers, not McLaurin. So I'd be fine with either one of those, but definitely do not sell like Kelsey for Devontae Adams at this point. Douglas says 12-team, have BR 4-3. 2 quarterback, 1 flex. We have Geno, Russ, Chase, St. Brown, Rice, Downs, Watson, Judy. Brian Robinson, Aaron Jones, Ramondre, Kelsey, and he moves. Oh, this is it's a team that's really struggling at running back. If it's a league with only 1 flex and you only start 2 receivers, would be interesting to see if we can take Rashee Rice or Josh Downs, these rookies that people are very excited about, but package them with either Brian Robinson or Ramondre Stevenson and go get an upgrade at running back. I think that would be interesting. Now, Cameron says 12-team BBR double flex, 5-2. Traded Ramondre and Amari for Gibbs and Waller. Give me Gibbs over Ramondre, Waller versus Amari, up to your team. Stream tight ends so far. So yeah, good move. We have Bijan, Pacheco, Mostert, Ayuk, CD, Flowers, Dobbs, Algier. Should we flip Gibbs? I would say in a full BBR format, probably not. I mean, we can go out there and we can always put him on the trade block and see what comes in. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be like a must-sell guy. However, I think that it is really going to be depending on the actual trade offers that we get here. But yeah, I'd be looking to sell Gibbs if it's a non-BBR format. Half BBR league, it's a little close. And full BBR league, I'm just going to be looking to hold. Dylan says 5-2. Asked earlier about trading Jacobs and Hopkins for Brees or Walker. Are we going to go Brees or Walker rest of the season? We'll go Walker, my friend. And then add Lawrence to get one. We have Goff and Kyler off the IR. Yeah, so we definitely don't want to be rostering 3 quarterbacks here. So we can just go through and throw in that extra quarterback to get it done, right? So yeah, I mean, if we can go get Kenneth Walker at that price point, I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, Eric coming out saying we have Tua, Burrow, Kamara, Pollard, Waddle, Higgins, Wilson, Myers, Curtis Samuel, Waller, and Ferguson. I was offered Puka and Jacobs and the Seahawks defense for Kamara and Myers. Do we sleep on it? Don't really care about the Seahawks defense. Myers to Puka is a massive upgrade. Kamara to Jacobs in a full PPR format is a big-time downgrade. I think, yeah, definitely sleep on it. I think it is going to be up to you. And I don't even want to say Myers. I don't want to say either one's a massive upgrade. Honestly, as we look at this, I do really think it comes down to your personal preference, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be up to you. Ethan says, someone drop Kyron. Should we drop Moss or London for him? I'd probably just drop London. I think Moss has a lower floor, but a higher ceiling if there were to be an injury to Taylor. Rob says 14-team BBR 5-2. We have Hurts, Mixon, Cook, Adams, Thielen, Hawkinson, Addison, Downs. Was offered Hawkinson for Bijan. Appreciate the stream. Appreciate you, my friend. I would for sure go through and sell Hawkinson for Bijan Robinson. Give me Bijan Robinson. And honestly, it's not going to be too close for me either. Barrett says trade Foreman, Myers for James Cook. Other running backs are Walker and Madison. Yes, I think we do. Okay. Sorry, I think we accidentally missed a question. Just going through, making sure we don't miss one. Zachary says 3-4, 12-team BBR. Henderson or DeMercado off waivers. Probably DeMercado. I mean, with the Rams, you don't exactly know what's going to happen. DeMercado had literally everything this past week. Norm says, should we start James Cook or Josh Jacobs? Gonna go Josh Jacobs, even if he has been gross. But Geraldo says, should we trade Rashad White and Kendrick Bourne for T. Higgins? We have Hall, JT, Waddle, Kirk, and Boyd. I think it's a fair deal. It's going to be up to you. I don't really want Bourne to be the reason we do it or don't do it. Really comes down, would you rather have White or Higgins rest of season? Ryan says, full BBR single flex, Jacobs and Watson for Bijan. Definitely give me Bijan. It's Ricky says, what do you think about Montgomery? I trade Brock Purdy for him. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I think Montgomery's going to be a high-end running back too, almost at the minimum when he does come back. Selling Purdy for him is a no-brainer. Hercules coming out saying 2-5, 10-team BBR. We have Allen, Jacobs, Achane, Stevenson, Jones, Najee, Chase, Adams, Smith, JSN, Judy, Ingram. Please help me. Appreciate you, Mason. Appreciate you, my friend. What can we do here with this team? I think the only thing that honestly makes sense for this team right now is if you could go out there and if you could be looking to sell Devon Achane and his long-term upside to get some points in this starting lineup right this second. I don't care how you do it. It's a very well-balanced roster. Obviously, we don't need quarterback. You're going to be looking to get an upgrade at running back, wide receiver, or tight ends. I don't really care which direction we go in because we do have the balance, but that would be the move we are looking at. Now, sleep-deprived animator out again says, 10-team at BBR 7-0. We have Allen, Puka, Watson, Pacheco, Cook, Kelsey, Flowers, Roshan, Andrews, Chase, Nico. Should I do a 2-for-1 package, Puka and someone else, maybe Collins for Diggs, or different 2-for-1 for Diggs or stay put? No, we do this deal. Especially 10-team league where we are loaded. We're 7-0. We are thinking long-term. If you could sell Puka and Collins for Diggs, that'd make a lot of sense. If they don't want Collins, then give him Flowers. It doesn't matter if it's Collins or Flowers or Watson. We'll sell any of those wide receivers for Diggs. Especially having Josh Allen. Now, flip side, Fishin says 10-team full BBR league. Deontay or Josh Downs, we have to drop one. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. I have way more Josh Downs in drafts this year than Deontay Johnson. So I really hope that I am wrong, but I probably dropped Josh Downs and prioritized Deontay. Ian says full BBR 3 and 4. Lamb for Smith and Aaron Jones. I mean, I was thinking that Aaron Jones was going to give us something. But obviously just hasn't. I'd probably go Lamb. It's up to you and what you think about Aaron Jones. And if you think it's just because of the injury and he will eventually get over it. Jay says just traded Myers in a late first for Olave and Gainwell. Don't know how we pulled it off in a Dynasty League. I really like it. I understand why they would go out there and do it. Hopefully it's a one quarterback format. If it's a 1 QB league, it's a no-brainer. If it's a super flex league, I think it's a fair deal though. Brett says thoughts on Pollard trying to sell. Playoff schedule not the best, or should we look to hold on to him? I think Pollard is a buy, my friend. I mean, if you look at his volume, he has pretty much at the very bottom of the expectation for fantasy points. I think it will be better going forward, especially with the touchdown efficiency. Brandon says 10-team, happy BR, double flex 4 and 3. We have Hurts, Swift, Hall, Chase, St. Brown, Keenan, Puka, Hogginson, Deontay, Rice, Hunt, Jeff Wilson Jr., Khalil Herbert. Feel like we finally have depth. Any moves? Well, it's a 10-team league. I mean, depth's not going to be the end of the world one way or another, my friend. And I'd say as soon as we get depth, we're looking to sell it in this 10-team league. I mean, if we have Kareem Hunt and we're not going to be starting him right now, even with the Jerome Ford injury, then we go out there and we look to see if we can send Kareem Hunt to a team that really needs a running back that would actually look to start him, right? Because if we're not going to get any value out of him right now, might as well try to extract some value from him in trade. Mike says, got offered Jefferson and White for Jonathan Taylor. My team is Hill, Adams, Montgomery, Kelsey, Pittman, Pierce, Javonte Palmer, JSN, Judy, Spears, Connor. His running back depth is Mostert, White, Mixon, Warren. Should I swap White with no JT included? Got offered Jefferson and White for JT. I'm going to go Jefferson and White easily. If you wanted to ask him instead, hey man, will you give me Mixon instead of White and just see what he says? No harm, no foul, but I wouldn't reject the deal. I think we would keep it in the back pocket for if he rejects our counter of Mixon instead of White, we still go ahead and get Jefferson here. Sorry, I'm losing my mind with one eye having a contact in, one eye not. Joey says 12-team PBR 5 and 2. Brian Robinson, Jones, Amon-Ra Keenan, Wilson, Nico, London, Foreman, Kyron. Do we trade Brian Robinson and London for Javonte? And who else can we target with London and Brian Robinson? I would way rather go after Rashad White. I would way rather go after James Cook. Javonte's just someone I'm not excited about, and that in Denver, it is effectively a 3-man running back by committee at the moment, and it is one of the worst offenses in the NFL. So if we could instead pivot over to White with the guaranteed volume or James Cook in the better offense, I think that would make more sense. Anthony says 4 and 3, 12-team standard. St. Brown, Judy for Evans, Pittman, Palmer. Hook him. Hook him, my man. And Judy, Palmer, tomato, up to you. Probably Palmer. But St. Brown versus Evans and Pittman. We're going to go St. Brown, not close. So yeah, we're going to take the best player in the deal. Let's go St. Brown. Anthony says 4 and 3, 12-team PBR, 3 receivers and a flex. Do I trade Gibbs for Addison? Running backs are Foreman, Sanders, Pollard, Moss, Jeb Wilson Jr. So we have Pollard and nobody else. Receiver, we have Jefferson, JSN, Pittman, Myers, London, Gabe Davis. It looks like Honestly, I think it's a very fair deal. Can everybody let me know in the live chat, what direction are you going to go in? Are you going to take Gibbs or Jordan Addison with this team? If it was a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I'd probably say let's go ahead and let's take Gibbs. But with this being a 3 wide receiver league, I think we can go with Addison. Thomas says Aaron Jones for Pittman, 10 team PPR based on the team above. Sorry, looking at this team now. So it's a double flex league where running back, we have Kyron injured. So we currently have no RB2 outside of Deonta Foreman. I'd say we probably hold on to Aaron Jones and just see what happens. It is a little worrisome with Jones here. And looking at what the live chat is saying, looks like the majority of people are saying Jordan Addison as well over Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, let's find our next question. I'm sorry, we lost our spot. It's going to take me 1 second to find this. And as I do, let me remind you, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Only about 7.5% of y'all have hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, plus the usual special offer Underdog has for new people. Josh Allen, more than less than half a total yard for Thursday night. But on top of that, for NBA tip-off, a LeBron special pick of more than less than half a total point. And because we had so many people use promo code FLOCK on Underdog last week, this week you're also going to get an Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick of more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you take advantage while you can, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Rob, I think we already answered this. We would way rather have Bijan over Hawkinson, just in case we did not answer that. Barrett says trade Foreman and Myers for James Cook. I would say we probably need a little bit more there, to be honest. Myers has been great. Ring says 12 team PPR 2 and 5. We have Love, Jacobs, Javonte Warren, Adams, Amon-Ra, Wilson, Hopkins, Logan Thomas. Got offered JT or Walker and Waddle for Amon-Ra and Javonte. Yes or no? If you wanted to make the play for Walker, I'm not going to fault you for it, especially if they could throw in another quarterback where we could possibly get an upgrade over Love. Wyatt says 3 and 4 PBR trade Achane for Brees. No good running backs at the moment. Oh, hell yeah, I'd rather have Brees over Achane, especially if we're 3 and 4. Augustin says 10 team, 1 and 5 PBR. We have Hurts, Eckler, Bijan, Kupp, Olave, Kelsey, Palmer, Hopkins, Hunt, White, Kyron, Achane, Kyler. Just traded Hurts, Olave, Hopkins for Tyreek and AJ. Oh, phenomenal. Way to go get Tyreek and AJ. And now at this point, I think we probably go ahead and look to sell one of the injured running backs, whether that's Kyron or Achane, just to go out there and get a quarterback that's viable for the short term. And then obviously we still have Kyler Murray in the long term. Core says 10 team PBR. We have Hurts, Walker, Gibbs, Tyreek, Brown, Andrews, Palmer, Dell, Rasheed, Sanders, Spears, Jameson, Samuel. Should we trade Williams or Rasheed Rice plus Spears for Michael Thomas? I would say no. I mean, I'm fine with the idea of going out there and making this trade for a wide receiver upgrade. Just I don't necessarily know if Michael Thomas really does anything for us here. Yeah, I think you just need a different player. I mean, a lot of people would rather have Rice straight up over Thomas. Alex says got offered Jefferson for Thielen in a 6-team league. 6-team league, I don't care about the record. You want Jefferson, not close. Hospital Mike says, want to help an 0-7 bro out. Loser has to dye his hair. 12-team PBR double flex. Mahomes, Connor, Moss, Ahmed, Waddle, Kirk, Jacoby, Lamb, Hopkins, Michael Wilson, Hardman, and Joku Johnny. We got a lot to do. First, cut McCall Hardman, find someone else off the waiver wire. Second, cut Salvador Ahmed, find someone else off the waiver wire. Third, sell James Conner and go get a viable running back for right now. We're 0-7. We can't be thinking about long term. We got to be thinking about trying to get a win in right now. So I think you have to cut those two players, find better options off waivers, and then also go out there and send Conner for some production today. Nathaniel says Burrow or Lawrence, Laporta or Waller, and pick 2 wide receiver starters in a flex, Chase, Smith, Kirk, Flowers. We're going to go Burrow over Lawrence, Laporta over Waller, and we just essentially have to bench one player here. I think we're probably going to bench Zay Flowers. You can make an argument for Smith, but Smith has a very, very good matchup against the Commanders. And I thought this was long-term. If it's just this week, if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to bench Burrow against the 49ers, I'd be okay with it. Jonathan says 1-6, Kamara, Walker, rest of season. Oh, we're definitely going to go Walker. Yeah, trade HN for Walker. It's going to be an easy play, especially with Walker already through his bye. Toon says 10-team PBR, 4-3, double flex. We have Lawrence, Kyler, CMC, Kamara, Kupp, Ridley, Waller, DJ Pittman, Mixon, Higgins, Downs. Good offered Montgomery and Evans for Kamara and DJ. Should we take it or try to make another move? Full BBR, Kamara to Montgomery, downgrade DJ to Evans, a lateral move. I don't think you look to take this deal. I think that honestly, I'm okay with the idea of it. I think you just need a much better package in return. Like maybe if Montgomery was fully healthy, maybe we would make that deal. But I mean, right now, Kamara is at the very top of the NFL in receiving, right? I don't know if we are too inclined to do that. Now, Taylor says we have Herbert, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Etienne, Kamara, Hawkinson, Godwin, White, Stevenson, Reynolds, Dotson. Any suggestions? Also, we got offered CMC for Kamara and White. 100%. Let's take that depth. Let's go get Christian McCaffrey here. After that, probably going to be chilling on our hands. But yeah, if we're able to make that play, go get CMC, it's a no-brainer. And I will say some of those receivers down there at the bottom end, like Jahan Dotson, are on the chopping block as well. Damian says 12-team full BBR, where we have Lawrence, Diggs, Lamb, JT, Henry, Adams. Trade Henry and Lamb for Kupp, or do we stay stagnant? Benches Gibbs, Moss, Spears. If it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I'm okay if you wanted to do this in a full PPR format. I'm going to be a little bit hesitant because there is that outside chance. Just an outside chance, right? That Derrick Henry gets traded and it's to a great matchup. Johnny says 4-3. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Massive dono from Johnny says 4-3, 12-team non-BBR single flex. We have Tua, Eckler, Walker, Addison, Rashee Rice, Hawkinson, James Cook, Mixon, Hopkins, Watson, Sutton, Hunt, Foreman. Teams need running backs in our league. Which running back wide receivers do we trade away for whom? Are we going to be going for Diggs, AJ Brown, Kelsey, etc.? Thank you. Appreciate you. No, appreciate you so damn much, my man. Thank you so much for being a member of the flock. And so when we're looking at a team like this, it's very difficult, right? Because what I'm looking at is I'm looking at a team where we want to be holding on to Eckler and Walker. Non-BBR format, maybe we're a little more inclined to sell Eckler, but still at the same time coming off this week, this is probably not the time to be doing so. Non-PBR league, we need to be charging a running back premium if we do look to sell these guys. James Cook, in my mind, is almost a buy low at this point with the Damian Harris injury. He is seeing a considerable workload. Joe Mixon, I think maybe better if we have Burrow fully healthy coming out of the bye as well. So I agree with the sentiment. I think when we have this kind of running back firepower, we are going to look to go ahead and we're going to look to make a trade to go get that upgrade at wide receiver. It would be a very boring move, however, in that I probably want to keep the top 4 running backs and instead look to sell like Hunt and Foreman. These guys that are stepping in and they're giving you production right now, but they don't really have the long-term upside for this team. And this team, when we're elite at running back at the very top, we probably should be prioritizing that long-term upside rather than short-term production. So like the guys that are so clearly sells here are players like Kareem Hunt and Deonta Foreman. But obviously, we're not going to be getting a ton for these guys, so we need to be a little bit realistic. I think if we're going to look to package them with another wide receiver that people actually want, we're not going to get anything for Hopkins at this point. Hopkins was that sell high guy for us, I mean, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but now you're kind of just going to be chilling with him. I mean, Watson, you're not getting anything for. So I think the trade, that would make a lot of sense. There are 2 different things we could look to do. One, if we could sell like Tua and one of the running backs in either Kareem Hunt or Foreman and get to a top 4 quarterback, get to Allen, get to Mahomes, get to Ertz, get to Lamar. I think that'd make a lot of sense. The other move that we could be looking for is we could be looking to go through and sell him with Rashee Rice. I think Rice is a player that people are very excited about at this moment for a good reason. But if you wanted to sell, say, like Hunt and Rice and go try to get a wide receiver upgrade, go try to get someone in the Adams, Lamb, Pittman, Addison, Puka, Thielen range, I think that would also be something we could look to do. Obviously, don't be afraid to send out those 10 offers and just see if one gets accepted. I mean, if we send out 10 offers, 9 can get. I don't know. I think you're in a good spot. Yeah, but thank you again so much for supporting the channel, my friend. I really hope that I was able to help you out in some way that was hopefully a little bit realistic. But Kojin says trade Ridley for T. Higgins. Yes, I would rather have T. Higgins rest of season over Ridley at this point. Now, Peck Birdman says 10 team, half PPR. We have Watson, Fields, Kyler rostered. Would you drop Watson for Stroud? Yes, I would. And also, would you drop Hopkins for someone like Josh Downs? And to be honest with you, probably not. We probably keep Hopkins over Downs, even though it's getting close. But yeah, Watson, I don't know what's going on. I thought Watson had a lot of upside coming into the season, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just been so damn bad. Now, Jason's coming out saying 12-team full BBR, 4-3. Single flex. We have Cousins, Mostert, Henry, Lamb, Jacoby, Laporta, Stevenson. And then on the bench, we have Goff, Pittman, Debo, Kyron, Wilson, Darrell Henderson, Juwan Jennings. First off, cut Juwan Jennings. I know he had target volume this past week. You're literally never going to start this guy, I promise you. Second off, strong team. We can just play the matchups between Goff and Cousins. Make sure we're starting Pittman here. Let's start him over Ramadre for that flex. And then, yeah, we have so much wide receiver depth. If you wanted to see if we could go out there and sell, say, like Garrett Wilson and Kyron Williams, go get a stud running back, we could go ahead and look to do that. But the primary thing is let's just go ahead and let's let go of Juwan Jennings. Now, Prada Pink Slip says 12-team PPR. Drop Foreman for Charbonnet. We have Etienne, Pollard, Roshan, and Tank for the handcuffs. I would not while we have the injury to Khalil Herbert. I do think that Zach Charbonnet has more long-term upside, however. So when these guys get healthy, then we would look to make that play. Edward coming out saying 10-team PBR single flex 5-2. Traded Bijan Higgins for Saquon Olave Flowers. Bijan to Saquon downgrade. Higgins to Olave lateral move / upgrade. Getting Flowers on top of it. We have Allen, CMC, Saquon, Olave, Thielen, Hawkinson, Hollywood, HN, JSN, Roshan, Gabe. Also, happy birthday to Wallace. I don't love the Bijan deal, but I'm biased. Uncle Morans. And after that, I think that you've honestly put your team in a very good situation, right? Like, we have a lot of these players that are going to continue to get better as the season goes on, as they get healthier, and they're going to continue to gain more value. So I'm actually probably going to be sitting on our hands because we're just waiting for guys like Devon Achane. We're just waiting for guys like Kyler Murray to be good to go, right? Now, Johnny says Lockett for Ridley. I'd rather have Ridley. Also, Lawrence Pierce or Lawrence Lockett for Herbert. I would sell Lawrence and Pierce for Herbert in a heartbeat. Yeah, so let's sell Lockett for Ridley, and then let's sell Lawrence and Pierce for Justin Herbert. Okay. Let's move this over. Bodie says, Mason, did you see? Yes, I did. I'll be happy to go through and re-answer this for you. I'm sorry, my friend, if you missed it, let's go ahead and let's pull this back up. This was a 10-team full BBR double flex. Traded Foreman and Hopkins for Debo. Traded Brian Robinson for Mixon. Beautiful moves on both fronts. Now we have Debo, Amon-Ra, Olave, Rice, Deontay. Barkley, Eckler, Mixon. Extremely well-balanced team. Double flex format. We are going to be looking to sit on our hands. If it was a single flex league, we'd be looking to package together like Rice and Deontay to go get that wide receiver upgrade. But phenomenal trades. I think you're in a beautiful spot now, my friend. Now, Elite Henry, always happy to see this. This format is 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Watson, Kyler, Kupp, Evans, Ayuk, Higgins, Deontay, Kamara, Gibbs, White. Tight end is Waller. It's a 12-team at BBR format, sitting at 5-2 and in 4th place. Any moves? So it's a league where depth is a little bit prioritized. We have Kupp, Evans, Ayuk that we start every single week. We have plenty of wide receiver depth. It's a half PBR format, so the running backs that catch the ball are not as appealing. We may be in a spot where we need to pick up another quarterback to play in the short term as well. So honestly, my friend, the only thing that I think we do, and you don't have to sell these guys, I at least just think that they'd be interesting to go out there and throw them on the trade block and see what we get in return, is possibly throw out like Kamara and Gibbs on the trade block there. Now, Jerry says PBR, Brees, Pacheco, Mostert in the backfield. St. Brown, Adams, Wilson, Justin Jefferson on the IR. Herbert at quarterback, Kincaid at tight end. What's the next move for the playoff run? Phenomenal team. Kincaid's going to continue to get better. Jefferson obviously is going to just take a few weeks to get back. I'm going to say we're going to sit on our hands for now. In a week or two, when we get closer to the Jefferson return, at that point, if you wanted to see if we could sell Wilson and like Mostert and go get a running back upgrade, I think that could be interesting. But we're just not going to do that now because we need the wide receiver depth till we get Jefferson back in return. But I think that's all we have for this live stream. We've been live for over 3 hours, so please subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I mean, we're going to stream every single day until 2024. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you are going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, plus a Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Thursday. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, and Amon-Ra St. Brown special pick'em for Monday night as well. So make sure you take advantage. Only going to get both of those with code FLOCK. And then real quick, Jay says, I think you missed mine as well, but Goddard for Pittman, Thielen, or DK. We actually did get to this, my friend. And 100%, I would sell Goddard for Pittman. I think that was the team that also had the other viable tight end. And then also, what do you trade Gibbs for? We were talking about not really necessarily wanting to trade Gibbs right now. If it was like a non-PBR league, if you wanted to pivot over to Mixon, you can. And Anthony says, last questions. Please don't send another one. Anthony says, 10-team PBR 5-2, Jefferson injured, single flex, Hurts, Robinson, Hall, Lamb, Thielen, Pickens, Downs, Ridley, Pittman, Laporta. Got off for Tua, Puka for Hurts and Thielen. I think most people would go Tua, Puka. I just love Jalen Hurts. Adam Thielen's been a top 10 receiver as well, right alongside Puka so far this season. 6-point passing touchdown league. I think we go Tua. 4-point passing touchdown league. I think you make an argument for Hurts. I think it's a fair deal, up to you. Tan says, have BBR league need a receiver and a flex between Moore, Pittman, Hunt, Amari, Sutton. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I think we're going to be going Pittman for wide receiver, and then for the flex between DJ Moore, Hunt, it's going to be close. I'll make sure I get you my flex rankings out later this week, though. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you. We're going to go Kincaid. I really hope you have a great day, and really hope you get to see you out in the live stream tomorrow night.